This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. Mega drop alert. This episode is brought to you by HK Army. If you guys have not checked it out yet, head over to hkarmy.com. They just dropped a ton of new gear for 2023. The Sonic Loader, new laser barrel kits and tips, and my personal favorite, the Zero GX harness. I have been rocking this harness since World Cup and training with it a ton, and it is honestly the greatest harness I've ever used. The pod pack does not wiggle around and move at all. No matter how much paint you load into it, it's going to stay stable while you navigate the paintball field out there. It is a 4+3 pack. Traditionally, these can carry around 11 pods, but the Zero GX has 2 additional quick draw holsters for you to carry up to 13 pods. Now let's talk loaders. There have been a ton of new loaders released at Cup, and I'm sure a bunch of you are still wondering what to choose. If you're looking for something affordable and amazing, the HK Army Sonic Loader gets the job done, reaching 16 plus balls per second and coming in under $100. So all those fans out there adding paintball gear to your Christmas list and getting ready for the 2023 season, make sure to check out hkarmy.com for the new mega drop. Use code PTG and get free shipping on your next order. Go check it out. Today's episode of PTG is brought to you by the one and only Trans Labs that brought the world 2 amazing products. First off, Transfuse, which is a hydration multiplier, and most recently they just dropped Transcend, which is a nootropic energy formula. No matter what you use, when you choose Trans Labs, you are going to be boosted and you are going to be ready to charge the paintball field and win out there. With Transfuse, that is a premium rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula scientifically designed to replenish you at the cellular level. And they use all natural ingredients in this product. We've got zinc, we've got vitamin B6, we've got vitamin C, sodium, potassium, choline, and it is an amazing way to make sure that you're hydrated and prepared to play top-level paintball. When it comes to Transcend, that is a premium nootropic energy formula designed to increase cognitive performance, elevate mood and clarity while supporting long-term brain health, and it's going to leave you feeling great with no crash or jitters. It's one of the only products in the nootropic space backed by research studies to ensure the formula is correct for optimal performance. It is more potent than anything on the market, and it will keep you charged and ready to win out there. I take 1 scoop, but if you're stimulant sensitive, take a half scoop, and if you want that LFG dose to launch to the moon, dump 2 scoops in your drink and you are going to be flying down that paintball field. Comes in 2 delicious flavors, Baja Blast and Skittles Candy for the Transcend. And for the Transfuse, they have 2 new flavors as well, Pineapple Express and Hawaiian Punched. So if you get a chance, head over to translabs.com. That's TRANZLABS.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and you'll get 10% off. If you subscribe to a monthly delivery service, you also get 10% off as well. So you could take advantage of 20% off on these products. Head over to translabs.com and give it a go.
Welcome back, PTG Nation. This episode, we have a lot of awesome stuff to talk about. We have Joe Barrett, who just made a big move to LA Infamous. He just got back from hiking a volcano that literally erupted 2 days after they were finished with their hike, which is wild. I mean, like, seriously erupted. It was gnarly. After that, we have Quinn Nadu on. Everybody knows Quinn Nadu has all the juice, all the big hot off-season moves, hot off-season topics, and he just talked with Tom Cole of the NXL and had lots of great information to share with us. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. Crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Marchie.
There we go. Yeah, baby. Welcome, everybody, to the PTG show. We're back with another phenomenal week. The production is getting bigger and better than ever before. We're incredibly excited. These shows are really fun now for us, too, because we have so many cool features. Can't wait to show you guys some of the new features as we move through. But we have some awesome guests on today. Joe Barrett will be joining us in a little bit. And then we're going to have Quinn Nadu from Iconic Paintball. Both have a lot to discuss, and there's a lot going on in professional paintball right now. So, Ty, what's happening, brother?
Yes, there is. What's up, Marchie? Doing good. Episode number 170. The production is flawless. We got the Lone Wolf, the HK, the Transfuse logos on the YouTube. Go check that out. And we got a bunch of sponsors. Yep. Big shout out to the sponsors, and shout out to the whole PTG family tuning in. We've been pouring in all the resources into building the best show imaginable for the community, and we're having a lot of fun with it. We're going to tap in with Joe, and we are also going to be tapping in with Quinn, who's got tons of news. There's been so many just switches going on, people changing teams, teams picking up players, big news in the industry. So we're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, let's actually start with that. Let's talk about some of the moves. I'm a little out of the loop on some of them. Some names you brought up before the show, and I don't remember seeing that, but there's some bigger moves. Obviously, Rainey to damage was a huge one. We did have Rainey on the show to talk about all that, so we've already discussed that. Rainey to damage is massive, I think. Cody Mikowski, who I believe we will have on the show next week. Cody Mikowski heading over to X Factor. That was a great pickup by X Factor to I don't know if you would say replace Rainey, but fill the hole in a starting spot, right? And Cody's going to bring definitely a lot of poise and a lot of good quarterbacking skills. So Cody's a dominator. Him and Rainey play pretty different roles in my opinion. But definitely, things were looking kind of bleak for X Factor, and then boom, what do you know? The organization does it again. They kind of step up. They've been incredibly resilient, and I honestly love that about that team. It seems like every time, even when they lost Archie, everyone was like, oh, X Factor is going to have a tough year. They're going to struggle. They're going to this. World Cup 2020, they didn't have Archie playing, and they still made it all the way to the finals, brought us to overtime. Like, that organization is just resilient through and through. And so I'm always a huge fan of everyone on that team. And sure enough, they lose Rainey, and they're like, all right, well, guess what? Next man up. We're gonna figure this thing out still. So that's a big move, big pickup. Yeah.
They step up. They step up to the plate. No matter what, they're an amazing team. X Factor is top notch, and Cody's an animal. So picking him up is going to be a huge bonus to the team. Obviously, damage getting Rainey is a huge bonus, and we'll see how it all progresses.
Indeed. And then Joe Barrett to Los Angeles Infamous. We'll be talking about that here a little bit later, to fill Cody's shoes. What do you think of the move for Joe?
Joe, he's a stunner. He's going to go out there and he's going to run people down. He's going to probably be pressing the middle, pressing the edges, going for it. I think it's going to be a great addition for Infamous and a great experience for Joe. I think he's going to learn a lot in that camp. There's a lot of great minds, and it's really good that he's not throwing in the towel. He's still going for it. I know things didn't probably go as planned with Aftermath, but we're going to have him on soon to chat about exactly what went on in the camp and why he decided to make the move over to the new squad, Infamous. We got Joe texting in. He's ready to go here in a minute.
He is ready to go. And turns out we thought we were just going to call him in, but I think we're going to get him in on video. Let me see.
There we go.
Let me go ahead and send the invite here. Yeah, I think it's a great move for Infamous as well. They have a lot of young attackers that like to run, like to be aggressive. And so adding a player like Joe who can consistently be alive and help control the game or manage the game, and make sure things don't go totally awry, could be good for that organization to have some consistency.
Heck yeah. And they got Ben Challenger. Big ups to Ben. I definitely am a Challenger fan and can't wait to see him with Infamous. Ben has been rocking with the paintball family for so long, and I remember Ben since he was a young kid. So I just, always rooting for the youngster, and hope he's doing good. Go get him, Ben.
Yeah, Ben's the man. I got a lot of love for that kid. He actually was kind of keeping me informed, throughout all this. I'd reached out and said, hey, I see you're looking for a team, rooting for you, hope you stay motivated. And, I also kind of challenged him with a few things because I think that kid has really unlimited potential. If he really takes care of his body, takes care of his mind, and really focuses himself, to the game. He's already achieved so much, being a player out of Canada, but the kid can do so much more. So I'm excited to see the pickup on Infamous. I think it's a new opportunity, kind of new life. Travis is a great mind. Callie's a great mind. They're going to understand a little bit more about the game. There's a lot of, legendary players. I'm not sure. Is Thomas retiring?
I don't know for sure. There's been some talk on the town, but I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. He's got more in him. He's got more.
I mean, he said on PTG, I believe, that when we see the Mohawk, it's his last tournament. He had the Mohawk at Cup, and he's like talked about retiring, but then it seems like the retirement talks have gone quiet.
No, I think that was for his kids, actually. He did like a fundraiser for the youngsters, possibly. I'm not entirely sure, but that might have been why he did the Mohawk. But that's like something I possibly heard. But yeah, the Infamous kids, they did amazing. Thomas's young boy, they won it. They all had rings on. They were running around. Young Keith out there, Keith Taylor. And I think his sister also won. I saw her with the ring. She might have just been sporting one. But they got the whole fam playing paintball, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's what it's all about. Taylor fam, I hope y'all are doing good out there.
Yeah, how much longer until young Theo is running out there with the young guns?
Shoot, I don't know. Maybe in the next couple of years here. He's 7, so you don't want to spook him too early. You got to get him ready. But those paintballs, you gotta be ready.
yeah, you gotta be ready for sure. You don't want to spook him too soon.
Yeah. He's been crushing it in Minecraft. The dude is like playing against some of the top YouTubers and stuff. And like he finds them, he finds the rooms and tries to battle them. And he's been doing really good. Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. Good for him. Hey, that's what we always talk about too with everything. Like, try to play the best that you can. Don't go to a place that you're always winning, because you're not going to get better that way. You're not learning too much. Learn how to win a little bit. That's important, but go and try to find the best players at your field and ask to play one-on-ones. Find the best Minecrafters and go bug them to hop in their room and play.
And he gets worked, like, some of the games he's like, oh my God. But then he'll have a set where he's like, oh, I got him a couple times, or I got him 3 times in a row. And you're like, okay, you're getting him now. And that's how it starts. You got to just shoot for the stars. And like you said, play against the best, and you'll pick up that skill set, be able to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I am going to just call Joe. I'm realizing the laptop Joe has, I'm just imagining this. It might be from like the 1980s. I don't know if they even had laptops back then, but Joe is like just hiking a volcano. I don't know exactly where he's at. He might not even have great internet. I'm not sure if he's back in the States or what. We're just gonna give him a call.
Okay. I think he was traveling from God, I can't remember the name of the country, but he's coming from a distant land.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait to get the story. It look crazy.
Mr. Joe.
And then who knows? We'll see if we can get him via phone call, and then maybe walk him through on how to get in here if he needs.
Google Chrome. Get it loaded. Knock, knock.
Come on, JB.
Knock, knock.
Joe Barrett, how you gonna? What?
Please leave your message for.
Leave a message every time. We never don't. What are you doing?
Play the Game podcast calling. Just want to let you know that the old expression, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. Well, it's officially 5 minutes early, and you didn't pick up, so you are late. Hope you can give us a call back. We would love to have you tune in with us. We got a lot to talk about.
Are you kidding me?
All right. Oh, Pocket Cato's in the studio. Let's see
he's coming in.
This works.
He's tapping in through the live. All right. He said phone call.
Oh, we got him live.
Oh shit.
He said hold the phone.
JB,
I made it.
You made it, brother.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah, you're loud and clear. Can you hear us?
I hear you guys perfectly fine. I fucking made it.
You did. We are live right now as well. We are live.
What up, guys?
You are mid-show.
Shit, sorry I missed the start.
No, you're good. This is perfect timing. And shout out to the YouTube. You got to go check out the YouTube. Peep the shirt. Peep the couch. You know what I'm saying? See what we got going on in Joe Barrett's world. He just got back in literally today. He's been traversing the globe to get back home to be here. So talk to us. What's been going on?
Oh, man. It feels good to be chilling with you guys. And no, I didn't just get in today. I just walked into my front door like 10 minutes ago. And man, I'm happy to be here, dude. I'm happy to be alive.
Jeez.
I feel more alive than ever. I feel amazing. It's been a great 2 weeks. And yeah, I don't even know where to start. I just got back from Antigua, Guatemala, where I hiked a bunch of volcanoes. And God, what a fucking trip, man. I feel like I just did Mordor.
Mordor in the house. Tell the listeners where exactly that is. Like, describe the landscape. What were you dealing with? How was it?
For sure. Okay, so every year right after World Cup, I like to take like a little pilgrimage. Like I do a month or 2 months of just like, you know, backpacking. Normally it starts off with the MXL Cup in Mexico, and then sometimes it's like Asia, sometimes it's Australia, sometimes it's wherever. But last year, Harrison and I went and we did like a bunch of scuba diving certificates in Honduras, and a bunch of German backpacker friends told us that there's a fucking active volcano in Guatemala. It's about 1 hour outside of Guatemala City in like a little town called Antigua, like tiny little town. And there's a volcano called Fuego that you can hike. It's like 26-kilometer hike. And then when you get to the top, you can hike an extra like several kilometers to Fuego, which is like constantly erupting. Like every 5 minutes, it's Fuego because it's fire. Like there's straight up lava spewing out the top. Like not a ton. It's not like it's Pompeii, but there's, you know, a couple 100 feet of like lava going off, and your guides will walk you up to like 200 meters from like the erupting point. So yeah, man, crazy part of the world, absolute bucket list worthy. And like it's a difficult hike. It takes a lot to do. It's a long distance, and it's 0 degrees at the top with like crazy hurricane wind. So yeah, it's wild, dude. It's the most extreme fucking vacation I've ever had.
Righteous, man.
But like 2 days after we left this, it actually erupted like big time, where if we were up there, we would have fucking died, because it was ashes rained down over the city. They shut down the thruway. They shut down the airports. And we had literally just done this thing. And then we were like, all right, time for warm weather. Let's go to the beach. And yeah, we got there and we saw it on like world news everywhere else.
Yo. Oh my God. Well, hopefully everybody's okay out there, man. Jeez.
Everyone's fine. Like no one was up there when it happened, and it wasn't like the big one in 2018. So like the town didn't get destroyed or anything. We drove back through it. Everything was fine. But if you were up there, like you wouldn't have made it out of that kind of smoke.
Yeah. Sheesh. Crazy.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, how do they just allow people to hike up there? You know, if that's like such a possibility. That seems crazy, because even when you guys were up there, lava was coming out of that thing, you know, like those photos were nuts. I mean, very cool experience, but a little on the edge there.
Yeah, it's no joke. Like actually the edge, like it's
Literally.
I didn't know what a volcano sounds like until I was point blank with it, and it's loud as a motherfucker. You know, it's like the crashing of waves, but much louder, and you feel like the concussion and the vibration of this volcano you're on, and like you see these big, rocks probably the size of me on fire shooting out of the top, and it's like, are we good here? So, me and my group, we all just like huddled into a ball to keep warm from the wind, and we're just like, all right, well, hopefully it just keeps blowing up in that same direction. And we watched it for like 2 hours, just like laughing our asses off. But yeah, I don't know how it's possible, but my friends who told me to do this, they were like, yeah, the country's developing, so it's only a matter of time before this is like a lawsuit thing. Like there's going to be, you wouldn't be able to get waivers good enough for that. So they're like, do it now because eventually people won't be able to do this anymore. So Harrison and I were like, all right, let's go get this done like while it's possible. And man, it was well worth it.
Dude, what's Harrison doing these days? You chatted with him recently?
I was just with him all of Mexico and all of Guatemala. Like he's my hiking buddy. So
Okay.
yeah, we both experienced this together. Had the time of our lives. Just lived it up. Like Guatemala is so beautiful, and it's just a magical place. Like it's meant for backpackers that want to live on the edge and live in the moment. And he is continuing his journey. I had to get home to handle some real life shit. I'm going to be moving soon, but he is now on a plane on the way to like India. And then he's transferring to Indonesia and going to Raja Ampat, where it's like top 2 best scuba diving spots in the world.
Let's go, Fry. Sending it. Sending
Yeah.
it. Full send.
He's going.
Fry Ventures,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Fry Ventures.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome, Joe. Where are you moving to?
Man, so I've been in Sacramento since like the beginning of 2018. But I made like a life decision, basically a week or two after World Cup to move up to Portland, Oregon, where I will be finally starting a big boy job and, getting a little bit of stability beyond just the traveling nomad paintball thing.
Yeah. Damn, Portland's
That's big news.
amazing.
Yeah. You're telling me, man.
What's the job?
So my longtime teammate and one of my best friends in the world, Josh Hallberg, is part of like a CBD microdose company. He's like one of the partners of it, and they need a marketing guy. And man, a long time ago, I'm talking like 2012, I graduated from University of Buffalo with a marketing degree. And I was always like, you know what, I'm probably never going to use this thing. Like I'm going to chase the pro paintball thing for a long time. But that'll be something that'll eventually allow me to work remotely and continue doing what I love doing, but from my laptop on some tropical island in Asia. So I'm going to, get involved with the company and learn the ins and outs and work, right by the side of them at their actual office up in Portland. And
Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's definitely huge. And the area is amazing. The art, the life, the culture in the area is just outstanding. So a lot you can pick up being a part of the company, and they're definitely going to, need that aspect. And look at you, having the degree before you did the paintball, coming full circle. Now you get to use it and still do what you love and be with your friends as they grow their company. So that sounds like an amazing experience.
Yeah, totally. I mean, talk about like just life synergizing itself, you plan for all these things, and then in a weird way, if you just go with the flow, things happen that you couldn't plan for, and life works out a lot better. And like when Josh said he was taking a year off this year, that definitely sucked because I'm like, oh man, I was hoping, we'd jump to the same team together or whatever. So now getting the chance to live up there near one of my friends and work with them on the daily, I get to, stay close to one of my brothers and keep playing pro paintball and begin working towards, my future. So
yeah,
it's really been a wild week for all this to come together.
For sure. And the local field up there, what's the local park that you're going to be able to train at out there?
Man, so
There's a
correct
couple.
me if I'm
There's
wrong, but
definitely a few.
the field right next to us, I think, is called Impact Action Sports. I think that's the
Thomas
name.
Taylor's field.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure if
Okay.
I said it right, but that's
Yep.
Thomas's field. It's
Yep.
about 10 minutes away from where I'm going to live. And I've already been up there and played in with those guys several times when I would just go up to visit. So I get a nice grind field down the block. There's several pro players there. You know, you got Gomez, Thomas, Josh, Corey Field comes by sometimes, some of the uprising guys. So, yeah, I mean, it's
awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, and Thomas is doing a great job up there. If you are in the area, definitely go check out the park. It's an amazing park, and they have a great paintball family out there that does a superb job of running a great park and making tournament paintball fun for new up and coming, you know, the youngsters and the new generation of paintball players.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, the last time I was there, they had a lot of that U13 kids team there, like Thomas's son and a bunch of those guys. My buddy's Tyler's son is on the team. So it's one of the parks that I've, you know, been to that really seems to be like the most progressive at focusing on building up the next generation, which is, you know, you guys have seen it. That's refreshing because I feel like we're about the same age. And after our generation, like eventually I just didn't really see like those 13, 14-year-old kids at the field anymore. So yeah, good on them.
Yeah, and there's a lot nowadays, as we saw at World Cup.
There's so many.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I might have stayed a little longer, but I have a clinic with the local Sacramento U13 team this Saturday that plays out at Davis, Micah's field. So yeah. I'm looking forward to working with those kids. They did pretty well at Cup. I mean, it was their first event. They've only all been playing as a team for like 6 months. So these kids they're young, they're hungry, and they're little sponges. So I'm looking forward to teaching them.
Is that kid Nico, Ryan Podesta's kid on that team?
He is.
He is.
Animal.
That kid's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a monster.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's you know, I try to not say too much about kids at that age because so much can still happen, right? And you don't want to put too much pressure or you know, this or that, but that kid just kind of has it. You see it. He makes moves that are really high IQ. He's fearless. And like, most importantly, when I watch some of the stuff that he's done, it's the moves that he makes. It is the reading the field that, you know, there's been a ton of young kids that I've met that have great gun skills, you know, and are fearless and will get to spots. But when something clicks and you just watch a kid just outsmart a grown man, you know, that's impressive. That's like longevity. That player is only going to get better and better. So Nico has and obviously, you know, he was born into a paintball family. Ryan Podesta has been a long time pro. So, you know, I'm sure that definitely helps, but I'm excited for him to come try out for the U16s team. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year, but definitely excited to have him around. He's got a bright future if he sticks with it.
Yeah, totally agree. I like watching that kid play at Davis, and he definitely, you know, like the NorCal Kings play there, and that's like a good WC team, and
they're super good.
Yeah, and like Disruption, like there's a few good D3 and D4 teams locally that like to play at Davis, and that kid like occasionally punks out, you know, 25, 30-year-old guys that have been playing for a long time. So
totally
super enjoyable to watch. And it's what you said, like gun skills or whatever, like that's probably not all those kids' best thing. It's just because they haven't really like grown into an athletic body yet, but he has good timing. And when he sees a move, he just like, he doesn't think about it. He just does the move without hesitating. And you can't really teach that. So
it's very true. Yeah. Shout out to the Podesta fam. Shout out to Oakland one time. You know, I played with Ryan
shout out to
on Oakland for a little while there. And he's OG
we
mama's
played with
boy.
Ryan. Tyler, we both played with Ryan on Explicit.
Yeah,
that one year, 2012.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then
dude. Yeah, I remember playing against you guys in NPPL that season. You guys had Explicit was fucking stacked, and you guys beat the living shit out of us in Huntington Beach.
What team were you on back then?
I was on Buffalo Crush. It was one of those teams that bought a spot that year, and ironically, I was the only guy from Buffalo on the team. It was a bunch of like D3 X-ball guys from Chicago that bought the
Oh, that's
spot and
funny.
made it a Buffalo franchise. But I mean, our very first event in at Huntington Beach, our welcome to NPPL pro match was against Dynasty, and they kicked the shit out of us. And then a match or two later, we had Explicit with you guys, and man, I felt like I was out there fighting by myself against all the best legends in the game. It was crazy.
7-man was so much fun. Oh
Mhm.
man,
it's fun. Yeah.
it was.
We
That
need
era.
a one-off 7-man tournament. We need a one-off 7-man tournament. At least, yeah, every year. That's what we need. Just one, like kind of, fun tournament. Actually, look, leave a comment below if you agree that we need a one-off 7-man tournament. Let's get loud about this. Just one, right? It doesn't need to count towards any series. It doesn't, just for fun.
And why don't we just make it like on the beach or something? Just one time.
Make it on the beach, just one
Agreed.
time. If we have anybody that wants to fund that, let's include that as well. Yes, just on the beach one time.
Drop in.
That'd be
Drop in.
epic, dude.
Totally.
Epic.
Yeah. I thought HK was going to bring that back. Wasn't that like several months ago?
That's what they said. Maybe they're still working on it.
It's on the docket.
Yeah.
It's on the docket.
I fully agree that we need this, because like I was having a long conversation with Miko and Lasoya down in Mexico about this, about how maybe not necessarily like the best format for like TV, but that's a whole nother can of worms, because X-Ball was made for TV and it's not on TV anymore. But I think 7-man was the best format because it was an intelligent, creative player's game. Whereas X-Ball, like people make sweet moves all the time, but you don't even talk about them because it's like guys got a chance to rehearse that move over 200 points at practice. Whereas when you saw those big moves happen on like the NPPL 2006 ESPN show, you were like, holy fucking shit, that guy just decided to make that move right then and there. And like, if he fucked that up, they were out, but he made it. And that one move was like, he's a hero because of it. And, we can all think about those moves from back then, like Oliver cutting through the middle against Naughty Dogs and bunkering out 4 guys every which way. And it was like, holy fucking shit. Like just reading that. And
do you think it's because those moments still happen every single match, like every single match you see in NXL, those are happening. It's just you have more of them that you see now, so we're kind of like we're
jaded
about all the great moves a little bit, because you wouldn't see them quite as much. And I will say that I am enjoying myself more right now playing paintball, playing the format, everything that's going on, than I think when I was playing 7-man. It was just different. The time was different. You had 2 leagues you were playing in. It was a whole, like, you were jumping back and forth from 5 to 7, 5 to 7. It was a different
I thought that
cadence.
was awesome.
It was awesome.
I did think that was really cool. Yeah.
But I'm having more fun these days than I think I ever have, with the current landscape and just the game in general and where we're at. I would say.
I agree with you, Ty. I mean, I think there's a lot of other, factors that come into that, right? Like we're much later into our careers, much more settled in, it's easier to enjoy, not as, I don't know if intimidating is the right word, or, I guess I'm not really sure how to describe it. But as far as like the playing styles, I feel like the NXL, I feel like the fields are kind of like 7-man fields now. They're just smaller, but with the big bunkers and the way they've laid them out, it's much less like X-Ball was, and a little more like 7-man was, in my opinion, but you get that like you get the match style to where you can play point after point after point. But as far as moves and creativity, there's no sideline coaching. And then the fields they do totally remind me of old 7-man fields, with the big bricks and all the bunkers, you can really get lost. So I think it's a great mix, I really do, but I would love a bigger field, bring back the car washes. The car washes were so fun. I love the car washes. The big wedge in the middle was like a blast. And also, let's not forget that we talked about this on the show before when we were talking about blind layout versus not blind layout and what's better. For the last few years of the NPPL, they released the layouts and you could practice the layouts. I vividly remember that. So for a long time, those moves were still happening and people were able to practice them, you know. I would like to know when what year that started, because I don't remember. I don't think in 06. I think during that time, that move you're talking about, when Oliver, you know, cut through the middle against the Underdogs, I think it was still blind layouts, and you would show up and like each field was different.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's hard for me to say the exact date, but like I remember going to NPPLs all the way till like I want to say like 2009 or 10, where you'd show up and there'd be multiple fields, and you were like, okay, I got to walk the Angel field and the Chronic field and this and that. So there was no way you had that many layouts to practice. So it had to be after that when it switched to one.
Wait, it was
you said
later.
2009 and 10.
I feel like it was around there.
I know for sure. And you know, it's funny how the memory works, but I know this for sure. I know in 2008, they had, for the final event of the season, they released a layout. So I would imagine they released layouts that whole season. But wasn't 2009 and 10 the USPL? It wasn't the NPPL.
Oh,
anymore?
yeah, with the big U in the middle. You're right. You're right. You're right. After 08, the NPPL like went bankrupt or something. So I guess that would have been the change. Maybe it was end of 08.
08, maybe 09. They might have squeaked out one more year in 7-man in 09.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember.
I think it was 08, somewhere right in there. Definitely where they made that switch. And they didn't do, because like you said, you would have to go and walk like 6 different fields sometimes, you know, depending on what was going on.
See, I don't know though, because I remember in 2010 playing NPPL with Infamous. I feel like 2011 they had the USPL, 2012, and then that was it. I don't know. We need Rainey.
Yeah,
on the show.
Yeah.
We need Rainey, the fact checker. He would know this. Yeah, this kind of stuff is. I don't hold it in the memory bank too hard, but I think I'm close.
Can we please get big like 10 versus 10 or 15 versus 15 on this 10-man field with like all the pro squads, like have like show up Wednesday. We make it a staple. All the pros show up Wednesday. We play huge 10-man games on this huge field. Let's run it. That looks like the most fun ever.
Dude, I will start the petition with you. More players on the field. To finish out like the idea of like why 7-man events are sweet. I totally agree with you guys. I love X-Ball, and I think the sport is absolutely incredible right now. And it's not that, you know, I guess there were seasons of NPPL where you could rehearse the move, but like what I'm talking about, original NPPL, where like each game mattered. Well, right now you see a lot of sweet moves, but they're just not weighted the same, because like you could see, like, let's say Malloy pull out like an unbelievable move and then they still lose the match. You know, it makes one sweet point, but like you could still lose that game, where back then that big sweet move, the 3, 4, 5 pack in 7-man, like you won that game and it was one game, or it was best 2 out of 3 in the finals or whatever.
Unless the move is in overtime, then it's remembered even more. It's weighted even more, you know, because the moment is bigger than ever. There's so many ways to look at it. I don't disagree with you, Joe. I really don't. I see what you're saying for sure. Like that one match, there's obviously so much weight on that one match. But as far as like being rehearsed or not rehearsed, I think that the fact that these moves can happen even when there's been so much rehearsing is that much more impressive. It shows the separation in IQ. It's like, okay, look, it's not going to be, the other team's not going to be just making a mistake not watching the zone because they don't know the field yet. They're probably doing everything right because they know the field, and I'm still going to be able to make this move. It to me shows another level of IQ. But you know, I don't know, goes both ways. We could have this discussion for hours. It's like, I think I have the unpopular opinion. I've learned that on PTG. I'm pretty sure I have the unpopular opinion here, and most people like side with you. I'm okay with that.
It's the nostalgia. Yeah, dude, don't ever,
yeah.
We're talking about an era.
Yeah. Straight up. That was an era. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, dude. One-off. Give us a one-off 7-man blind layout, big fields, you know, like let's do it once a year, because more paintball is actually is better. More paintball is exciting. Yeah.
I agree. You know, it's funny. I almost thought we would get into this for at least a little bit, because I listen to your guys' show, every one of them, and you guys always have,
appreciate you.
Oh, dude,
Thank you, brother.
every time I'm in the car, it's, the Spotify is on. I'm like, all right, cool. Who am I about to fucking learn from today?
Right.
But yeah, you guys have often discussed the topic, especially like that long one with Matty Marshall, where it was like 45 minutes of blind layout versus release the layout. And both arguments are good. And I for one, I'm never like attached to an opinion where like that's what I'm sticking with. I'm gonna just keep hearing out perspectives because a lot of times there's things I'm not thinking about, and both sides have good. And
Totally.
I like playing layouts and
Well
stuff
said.
like that. But something I realized about playing X ball is in X ball, and it's not every layout, but a lot of times on layouts, you could shoot the right guy off break. You've only killed one guy. It's 5-on-4. And as long as you don't really make mistakes, you generally win that point. Like that one body has a lot of weight. And then like, don't even get me started about bounce shots. Like we all know how to find 35 bounce shots on every
Love
layout.
shots.
So it
Love
becomes
'em.
like, I love them too. I love carrying 9 pods and dumping on bounce shots. But now it's like, okay, I know the pattern. This other upper team knows the pattern. So who's going to like execute the pattern better and more consistently this game?
That's right.
And like, do you agree on this, that like when you get in the snake, your side's clear, like there's no wire, it's crawl down, turn, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, you already know what that guy's going to do. It's like, okay, is the guy going to execute what he should right now? Like we all know what he should do. But in 7-man, you had Angel Fregosa work every notch down the snake, looking to find those kills. And like a smart, creative attacker would shoot the whole team, but he wouldn't just do it from like, oh shit, he has that tape, he's about to turn the field and kill everybody because they can't hide. He would like find those sneaky spots and blind shots and shoot a bunch of guys out of their bunkers and then back up and shoot more guys. And it just like, it was more entertaining to watch the individual rather than watch like the team as a whole flanking the other team and winning on real estate.
I think Archie did that all year. There were so many times where he didn't just crawl down. He went as slow as he could, one by one, backed up and was really creative in the snake, and I think that's why he had a lot of success. So it's like, it's always that funny game of, okay, this is how you should play. But if this is the meta of how people think I should play, then they're going to react like this, which means I should probably do this. And so it gets really deep into the mind games. And I don't think it's that we're at a bad place. I think maybe it's, how do I say this? Maybe some teams just haven't realized yet that you got to throw the rule book out the window a little bit every so often. I'll make that argument for the way, I felt Aftermath played a lot this year. I think there were a few matches where if you guys would have just kind of thrown the playbook out the window and went and played ball, you guys would have won those super close games, and it's like a weird balance of, and Joe, you can attest to this for playing overseas. Sometimes you go, especially like playing down in Mexico, for example, you're just there. It's like, all right, this player just got into the snake. We don't have anyone on the wire. I'm going to post up on our side because they should be coming down to our side, but then all of a sudden they don't. And all of a sudden, like, it's someone running down the other side of the field that's shooting. You're like, wait, that's not what you guys were supposed to do. That player was supposed to sit. This player was supposed to capitalize on the advantage, and they beat you. Right.
That's true.
So I don't know. There's so many layers to the damn game, and I love it. And each match has like a completely different story. And it's not always just like, this is the pattern. Really, Nick Laval explained it really well in one of the episodes. It was about recognizing the pattern of the field, but then being the first to break the pattern and then being the first to evolve the pattern that you broke. Like you have to change it a few different times throughout the event if you want to win. And the timing of when to do that is very important. There could be a bounce shot that, of all event, but it's like, you know what? I'm not going to use it first game in the prelims. I will do my best to not get shot by it, but I'm going to wait until first game Sunday morning. I'll use that one bounce shot. Boom. I shoot the player that I wanted to. Now I know the rest of the match, they have to deal with that. So I can play a little bit differently now, and then it's like, okay. And I also have this other thing where I'm not going to use this until the semifinals. Right. And, it's a shame to hold on to stuff. We argue about this on Dynasty all the time. I always want to save stuff. And then other guys on the team are like, no, why are we going to save stuff? We got to get there first. I'm like, well, I think we're going to get there. Let's play good. Let's play really consistent. We don't have to do too much, but we have to have some stuff that we can save. Otherwise, you're very predictable and you usually don't win those events. So there's a balance there too. It's a little game you play within that.
Totally agree. Yeah, I fully agree. You brought up the Archie point, and that was something I didn't think about. And yeah, you're very correct. And there's guys like Malloy who do the same, where we're all playing the field. We're playing a certain chess game, so it's like, oh, he's in there. I'm going to predict he does this. And then there are those couple guys that do the completely unpredictable, where you're like, that was not the textbook move, but yeah, I guess I can't expect you to do that. You put me in. I thought you were going to go there. Instead, you went all the way to the other side of the field, and now you're shooting me in the back of the head. So, yeah, I mean, whatever works. If people are figuring that out, then they're evolving the game. And yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, it never ends too. It never ends.
It never ends.
It's this perpetual machine that is just pushing forward. And it doesn't just happen in one tournament. It's tournament to tournament and then into a season and carrying that. It's always in a flow of its own, right? And it's very difficult to have a team, an organization catch that cadence and be able to, ride on obviously their skill, their playing ability, but also playing the situations, playing these, all of these different mind games, essentially is what it comes down to. Holding on to tricks, keeping things in the bag, using them when you need to. You gotta play the notes, and it's a very difficult composition, like a piece of music to play. And it takes so many years of trial and error. And that's, I think, why so many people love paintball. And I know we've all been playing paintball for a long time. And, I said this is my favorite time ever, but man, we've been through it all, like from the early 2000s. And thankfully, we know the OGs who put on the game from like the 80s to the 2000s and into that era. And we've been able to mesh it all together. And I feel like paintball is stronger than it's ever been. But it's just an amazing, like I said, like a piece of music, a piece of art that you have to put together. And some teams might never figure it out, but that's what keeps them coming back. It's that allure, that chase of like we can do this time or this time. And that's the fun of it all right there.
Yeah. Oh, Tyler, I totally agree. And, examples pop into my head of what you're saying, because like, you can't ever really master this game. And once you think like I have, in terms of probability, the statistically best way to play out this play, then there's some way to go, okay, but if I was on the other side, what would I do to counter this play? Like, it's chess. How many chess moves ahead can you be? And like I watch you guys a lot. I study every player in the game, but like you two are top elite players, and you guys have been like that since you were young. So I can think of numerous times this year alone where like, Tyler, you'll be in a 2-on-1. First of all, we've all been through Aftermath. Like, we're all alumni here. And if you fill back to the back center rather than getting wide and pinch yourself out in a 2-on-1, you would probably be disciplined, right? But you'll go back to a back center Aztec, like knowing that another guy is going to like talk it out for a bit and not react to come close. And then you'll play the 1-on-1 from a better bunker, beat him, and now you have a good 1-on-1 spot. I'm like, why would he not just fill to the fucking corner? But your understanding is high. And yes, you know that you might get laned out in that move. A guy's looking for that fill, and you trust your gun skills. And Marcelo, multiple times we've practiced you guys the past 2 years, you'll go, okay, in my head, 0% chance I'm going to win out of this side just because this is a bad bunker over here, and you're in a 1-on-2, 1-on-3. So you'll flip the coin and run all the way across the back line to the other side. And yeah, you might die doing that, but when you make it across, especially if one or two of those guys didn't see you, I've seen you kill those guys before they can say anything, and now you have a 1-on-1. And it's like, in your head, you knew like, okay, if I choose that other bunker, what am I going to try to win a 3-on-1 gunfighting them all in this fucking small cake in the snake corner or whatever? I may as well try for that other one, because likely I might not make that, but guaranteed I'm losing this over here. And other guys would go like, well, I'm already wide, or, well, that's too far away. So like just that upper level of thinking kind of like gives you guys maybe not necessarily an advantage, but like a chance to put your gun skills to the work, and then you win.
Joe, I remember one specific point. It was a 1-on-3 in one of our practices at Victory. And I actually posted this video on my Instagram. And it's the exact situation you're talking about. I was in a small cake on the snake side. What made that move possible was me listening to your communication. I don't know if we'd ever talked about that move, but as I filled back and kind of bypassed the back center, but I heard you say the Cali moved to the back center, and I had already made it like to the Dorito tape, and I knew, TK was on the tape, and I didn't hear anything beyond that. So I was like, oh man, Thomas thinks I'm in the back center. He's going to be rapping. Sure enough, I just kind of crept up and was like, this is going to be my first kill. I'm going to be able to get this kill. I was able to get the kill on the wire, make it a 2-on-1. It changes the whole dynamic. But listening on those moves is so crucial. You can't just panic and like run hoping you get there and then make a plan. During that whole move, you're formulating a plan and you're listening to see, did they pick up my move? Because if you get, to the other side of the field and you hear them calling your position, okay, well, now you have to engage. If they don't call your position and you realize they don't know where you went, you have the upper hand. Even though it's a 1-on-2, 1-on-3, you now are in control because you can choose which first body you want to, shoot first and then make it a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1. Right. And I mean, Tyler, there should be an award for that. I don't know. I know Quinn's doing like the defensive player of the year award, but I feel like you weren't a defensive
I don't want
player
any
this
awards.
year, but it's unbelievable how many of those 1-on-2s you won. All right. Well, then stop winning those. Stop winning those. We're, moving into next
of course,
season.
send them. But yeah, dude, paintball is all ears, really. When I try to teach young students too that are trying to pick up paintball, I'm telling you, I use my ears 90% of the time. Obviously, I'm in a I'm trying to get dominance on the wire or play the situation, but I'm really listening to the paint off the bunker, listening to their voices, listening to my players' voices. This is such an ears game, and you really have to be focused on playing paintball predominantly through the ears. Obviously, you got to have optics on it as well. You got to be moving your head around and getting optics on everything, but it's really about information. And I know exactly that move, March, and on the fly, you make a decision. Boom. Okay. That's what you think. Boom. Here I am, and then now, like you said, you got the drop. Now they've lost dominance. They actually don't even know where you're at. And you're going to pick up at least 1 or 2 easy ones. And then by the time that happens, you can seal the deal, hopefully in that 50-50 coin flip. And the
worst is when you make those moves and then it happened actually against you guys, Ty. The 2-on-4 in Philly last year, made a sweet move cross field, bunkered Mishka, shoot Ryan, and then I'm like, we won the point. Like I remember being so excited about the move, and then dropped the ball. Chad George popped up in the snake and shot me. But it's like sometimes you don't finish the play, and it's pretty defeating there too. You got to make sure to finish the play. That's like, especially for young players, that's something I see the most of. Is they'll do all the hard work, get to the right spot, the good spot, game in your hands, and that's when you drop the ball. It's like, no, oh no, that's the worst time to got to finish the play. Got to finish. I kicked myself for a long time in that one because I think it was like, if we won that one, we would have only been down 1 with definitely momentum, a 2-on-4 kind of situation. But instead, you guys went on to kick our butts.
Yeah. And I think that you guys have beat us 2 or 3 times since that. So we're actually in the overall. We gotta get it back going. You know what I'm saying?
I'm waiting for it every time we play, dude. You guys are definitely one of the best organizations in the game for a reason. Speaking of top level organizations, Joe, you just made a move to Infamous, one of the most renowned organizations. I got to play for that team once upon a time. Travis is amazing. Callie's amazing. A lot of great dudes over there. Talk to us about that move and what inspired that, why you decided to go that route.
Oh man. Yeah. So, I just signed with Infamous, and it's still, kind of a little bit unbelievable because that was one of those just badass teams. That was the team Lasoya was on back in the day. That they were their name. They were infamous. Like it was the bunch of gangsters in the league, and I always thought that was sweet. Like it was just like one of the teams that I wanted to check off my list. And I guess I've been on a few legendary teams now. Like I've played for Damage, I've played for Aftermath, but Infamous is a little bit different because when I came on to Damage, like I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? I might have been ready to play pro, but I was a rookie, so I wasn't going to like help them win or anything like that. It was a learning experience. And then a bunch of years on DMG to really like grow as an individual player. And then Aftermath is like a legendary team, but it was another rendition of Aftermath. It was in a rebuild and we did very well, but coming to Infamous, that's one of those big names. Like if you think about really all the teams that have won in the past, like, I don't know, like 10, 12 years, it's only a handful of teams, right? It's like 6 or 7 teams. And for the most part, it's like the same 3. And then the other teams get a win here and there. And Infamous is one of those teams. And, you know, to finally come onto a big name team with veterans on the team and, you know, Coach Trav, I feel like at this point in my career, like I'm ready to come onto an upper team and actually like get play time, or like, you know, I'm a hard worker. Like I'm going to fight to earn a starting spot, but it's not like a starting spot on Aftermath where it was me and a bunch of my peers that are all like, we've been playing around the same time. Like I wanted to get back on one of those teams where now I have those veterans who have, you know, tenured levels of experience more than me. And I can just be a student again and be like, hey, Callie, you know, show me the game, like teach me how to play better chess out here and I can execute it. But at this point I need you to, you know, get me to that next level. And that was really a big deciding factor, is like I knew that if I wanted to like excel in my career and continue like growing, you know, Hinman is the man and he is good at cultivating talent. And he did that for sure. Like he got me to this level where I kind of became more well-rounded and much more aggressive. But I didn't have veterans out there next to me on the field to like play with or like quarterback me or take some of the pressure so I can free up and go play ball. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to like what that's going to allow me to do this year.
Yeah, man. Callie is a stud. Definitely got to call him back on the show pretty soon. Infamous is a powerhouse organization. And why do you think over 10 years, it's only been a few teams, you know, and what can teams do to break the mold and become a team that steps into that 3 and becomes the top 4 teams, the top 5 teams that are always trading out, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, this could be like a long conversation because there's, I think, a lot of different factors, but like take Aftermath, for example. We, in both seasons, made a top 4 appearance. But then at that point, it's like another new tournament begins. And it's like the most minute mistakes ever cost you the match. Not just a point or two here or there, but like the match. And like every time we lost, it was close. Like it'd be, you know, for example, even World Cup, we didn't go to top 4, but Orlando, yeah, it was, I mean, that was what, just before it would have been overtime. It was like right beforehand. And we only the game before that, we beat you guys, Tyler. And I think that was in overtime. And we let you guys have like 5 or 6 or 7 straight points back. Like we had that one put away. And because, you know, we're not rookies anymore, but because we're not like a team with any of the elite level guys, we hadn't got that far to it's like, okay, let's just close the door mercy rule. And you guys, knowing in your pit how to like, rather than just fall apart and give away the game, you guys came together, you were composed, and you did exactly what you had to do in the time needed to come back. And maybe it just wasn't quite enough time because it was so far behind, but you know, you guys showed like veteran prowess. And we, even though we won that match and moved on, showed like what we were lacking. And to me, it's really like, it's just experience. And if I think about all the teams that are winning, Houston Heat, you have like the Philly American core, you know what I mean? Plus like the Russians, plus you. Dynasty, same dynasty for like, you know, how long now? Impact, same core that like came in and was like really good in, what was it, like 2012 or 13, like still PSP. And then the other couple teams that win here and there are like Russian Legion. They have like, you know, a bunch of legends. They have Malloy, Kirill, blah, blah, blah. And then, I mean, Infamous had those vets and they've won 1 or 2 here and there. X Factor has won, like 3 to 5 in the last several years, and that's been the same core. So you just have like this like core of team IQ that are probably like combined, 75 plus years. Tampa Bay Damage too, super dominant 2011 12, like 7 straight events, and now they just finally got a second and a first this year. Well, look at that roster. That roster has not changed since that dominant 2011 and 12 season. Whereas like my roster, for example, I'm not going to like pick it, like the other really competitive middle pack teams, like let's say, Thunder, NRG, ML Kings, blah, blah, blah. We're all like, I guess you could say, loaded with young talent and athleticism, and we're hungry, and, we can win games ourselves. We can, talk and be disciplined together, but like we're in our beginning stages of like trying to become what you guys are, and you guys have been doing it and winning together for like a decade, 2 decades. So it's really, really hard to catch that.
I kind of think that might be the wrong approach, trying to become what we are. The best way to beat us is to become something that we can't yet be. If you try to become what we are, I would imagine the teams that are very experienced are going to be able to do it better. You speak about experience, but what that boils down to is decision making, right? So do you think in those matches, that heat match that you're referring to where you guys were up 5 points and they were able to come back, bring it into overtime, and then our match, you were up 2 points with like 2 minutes to go. You guys definitely should have beat us in Orlando in the semifinals and moved on to play the Saints. And then who knows, maybe you guys have your first win under your belt, and the whole story is different. What were the decisions that were made that led to those, not the loss with Heat, because again, you guys did move on, but letting them come back, and then the loss to Dynasty?
Oh man, it's a while ago, and it's hard to remember exactly decisions point per point. We've played, I don't know, 30 plus matches since then. But I think a lot of it is like, even though we always like, we're in the moment, it's the last point. You're not thinking about the next point. There is no next point, but you get a little ahead of yourselves, especially younger guys in the roster. Like on our team, we had, I'd say a starting 5 that were all, you could say, middle of the pack experience. Like it's not our first or second year, but we're not tenured like you guys. We're all like between 5 to 7 years of pro experience. And then the rest of the team is like guys who came up from semi-pro. And so like with that mix of experience levels, and not like a veteran, not a Tyler or a Marcelo to say like, hey, here's the situation. This is how we're going to close this out. You get a little ahead of yourself, you get excited. You blow your load too early, I guess you could say. You think like, this is over. Minute 23 left. We're up. All we have to do is this. And, sometimes the other teams, whether it's Dynasty Magic or it's guys that just have the understanding of like, I have to do this or we lose anyways, and they just put it on their shoulders. And I don't know. We were always a very good defensive, disciplined team, and we had held off countless, points in games against other teams. But when it came to holding off the very best guys in the world that know how to do that staggered attack, playing off each other, almost like unverbally communicating and playing off each other, it's just it feels like, okay, here comes the first wave coming at you, and I can handle this wave, but that second one is following right up, and it already knows what hoppers to pick, where the seam is, where the blind spots are, without thinking. Like you can tell that you guys aren't thinking when you read those closing moves, because you've done it a million times. And that's where I apologize if I put it wrong before. I don't mean like we're trying to become you guys, but like you guys just have that experience, like we all have a lot of game experience by now, but you guys have more Sunday experience than most of the guys in my generation have in pro experience. So just the amount of times you've been there, it's like, how to handle it. You're not getting dazzled or, choking.
Well, yeah, and we're human too in the same regard. It's no less effort, drawn. Like we have to really put a lot of effort into making those Sunday appearances happen. It's very choreographed. I think the biggest misconception, not only have the players gone through the routes and the way that we're going to run the field, obviously individually, each player has gone and done their sets and done their routes on all these different spots on the field, but the players are communicating so tightly to know the flow and the cadence of the player next to them. How are you going to approach this? They ask, we ask each other, how are you going to approach this? When this happens, it's all the what ifs that are going on. You have to have those ironed out before they happen. And if you're not, you're at the mercy of someone who's already done that, So it's really intricate conversations. And when you build on that, then that's when you start seeing, like you said, the cadence, the hoppers getting picked up, the flow is going just perfectly together. It looks like they're hitting every shot, and it's just like it's all going together, but it's not by happenstance. For the most part, I would say predominantly it's highly choreographed, which makes it even cooler to think about, that those types of things have been repetitiously ironed out between the players so that they can send it and have production and have a quality point every time.
Yeah.
Difficult.
I totally agree. And I think that you kind of just said like where, that's probably where a lot of teams lack, because I mean, I've been in the same hotel as your guys' teams and also like Impact, for example, countless times. And there's always that night where like I walk through the lobby and there's like a 3-hour meeting with like a PowerPoint projector going on. And man, I feel like I was always the guy who was saying to each team I've been on, Aftermath, DMG, whatever, like, why are we not doing this? Like, why are we not talking deeper into the point? Like, not just the breakout and like how we're going to win when we win the breakout, but like, well, what if we lose this guy? Okay, but what if we lose this guy and shoot that guy? And all the possible if-thens, like, I really think meticulously about that. And Josh Hallberg was a guy that always wanted to talk with me about that. And I think that was a big reason that DMG was still like pretty solid for what we had after we lost Thomas and TK and Urena. Like we would still make Sundays and, we'd win the invitational events because Josh and I would go, okay, like we're not as good as these teams. We don't have a ton of talent. So like, let's really, really talk out how to play through any situation. And it helps a lot. But on these teams, like let's say Aftermath, for example, we had like a good amount of talent, like a solid 5 or 6. And I felt like we could have went deeper into that, but I don't know, for whatever reason, like guys get tired at night, guys, they think we're beating a dead horse, or they want to talk it out in real time. And like, hey, did you see how that happened in that point? Next match, now we know this and we're going to have a code for that. And that's fine. But now we're like doing it on the fly and we could have just been doing it last night. So,
dude, yeah. You know what's real time? Real time is all the time. All the time is real time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real time all the time. It's really time all the time to make sure that we got this dialed in. And, there's if you think about it, how many minutes we have, how many hours we have, and what we allocate that time to, you can really become extremely efficient and reach new plateaus by just applying the time into the right avenues. If you're looking at and dissecting things and trying to really get to the bottom of the reasoning and trying to figure out and make breakthroughs, you're going to get it. It's all about what you're looking for and what you're looking to get out of the game. Maybe not every player's looking for that. Maybe the player's looking for something else. I don't know, but it's just about that progression. And that to me is the most fun thing about paintball, is spending that time, sharing that time with your brothers, sisters, whoever, and playing paintball and building on those foundational components that are going to make you the best paintball team and players out there.
Well said. No, I totally agree. And that's where maybe, everybody is in this at a slightly different priority level, like on a team that's not like, let's say Houston Heat, where everybody, that's your guys' career. Like, on my team, we had guys like, let's say Ethan, like our rookie players, where they really want it, but they don't know how to do it yet. Like they haven't been there. Because even I haven't been there yet. I haven't won a pro event. And then you have other guys who are like damn good enough. So that's why they're on the team. But maybe it's not their whole life. But like, and it shows. Like then they, they take a break for family or they go get their career, whatever. But like this is my motherfucking life. So like
Dude,
thought
I don't
about
want to, ain't
second.
no way. I remember crawling under houses for 12 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and then
Yeah.
hitting the gym,
Straight
and then hitting
termite
the
attacker.
field. And then I was hitting. It didn't matter. You put it, we knocking it down. You know what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah.
if you want it, go get it. Go
Yeah.
get it.
And
You
look
want
where
it.
you ended up because of it. You know what I mean? Like it's a rare and almost like psychotic few that are like that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's all the guys, and there's more, but a lot of the guys that came out of Hinman's camp where he would even say it, he's like, you have to be borderline psycho obsessed to get to that elite level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then all of those guys ended up, where did you go right after Aftermath? You went to the dynasties or to the whatever it may be, you know, and now I get to go to Infamous, and that's
Dude,
that's
yeah.
really what it is. It's like like the obsessed ones that are constantly obsessing about it, make it like their train of thought, like 90% of their conscious life. And we gave a lot and we struggle. And, you know, you're underneath fucking floorboards and shit. And like, I know that life too. Like I've never been well off. And there were times that I was like living out of the back of a car or living off a friend's couches, or man, I can't even tell you how shitty my first year in Florida was. Like I was living in the worst neighborhood of all time, and I had like a $7 a week grocery budget, but it was for paintball, and it all got me here.
You made it happen, dude. You absolutely made it happen. So obviously you've joined forces with Infamous. How was it, you know, parting ways with Aftermath? Obviously never easy. And were there any deciding factors that made you want to say, okay, I think I'm going to take my skill set to Infamous and see what I can add to this organization here?
Yeah, totally. So I guess two parts of that question. So like, you know, parting is always hard because like I'm an empathetic guy, and like even when you know you have to do what's best for you, like sometimes the worst thing in the world is like letting your friends down. Like you can let them down easy, but like, you know, you just don't want to hurt them, like because you're helping them and you all like bonded and had so many experiences. And like I've had to do this a lot over my career. Like I've played with an absolute shit ton of teams, but like leaving Aftermath especially, where like Mike did so much for us, like seriously the best, you know, team owner of all time, and always give
Dude,
his
he is
shirt
the
off.
man. He is the
He is.
man.
He is. He's, you know, such a generous, big-hearted guy, and not just for his own players, but for paintball. Like he does so much with his league, and you know, he's a give back person, and people only see the loud mic in the pits, but if you stay over at his house weekend after weekend and you're always getting sushi with him, it's like he fucking loves you. And
Yeah.
and that was the worst part, you know, is like having to leave Mike. But I mean, TK retiring, Frank leaving, Josh taking you know, time off to have his kid, like all these factors occurred where it's like, okay, now I'm literally like the last veteran on the team, and like teams had already been kind of like softly asking me what I was doing the next year. So it's like, what is my heart telling me? Like, where's my next progression? Am I going to stay here? And also like, I knew I wanted to, like, I was basically doing a move without knowing where I was going for at first, because I knew I wanted to move and, you know, begin a career and start building up the other parts of my life. And really to give your all to Aftermath, like you have to be, I think that team grinds more than like anybody in terms of days in the year, except for maybe like Russian Legion. Like, you know, it's layout weekends are always 3 days, sometimes 4. Like this year we often did Thursday to Sunday or Friday and Monday. And then you also ref WC, which you should, you know what I mean? Like that's the least we could do to give back to Mike. But like, after all was said and done, I was gone like all, you know, over 3/4 of the weekends. And it's hard for me to know that I could give that to Aftermath, like really give my full and be there all those weekends if I'm trying to like put more time into a career, you know? So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out and like step away from the team that plays more than anybody. And then basically as soon as I did that, like I was starting to get, you know, good offers. And I told everybody, I was like, I want to like just take it easy for the holidays and kind of like, I'm still like drilling and stuff, but and playing MXL and doing clinics, but like I want like a mental break from like the idea of where I'm going in pro paintball. And it wasn't until I was literally like arriving in Guatemala with Harrison that I got the call. And it was like pretty much at the same time that Cody left. And now seeing it from their point of view, it really makes sense. You know, like they are losing like a big quarterbacking player and like a heavy shooter. And they also could probably use another like center attacker. And I'm kind of both of those things. So like when that offer came, I was like, man, I feel like, you know, not only would it be amazing to play with like, you know, one of my longtime best friends, Harrison and Tim, and underneath all these legends, but like this seems like it'd be a really good fit for me. Like my play style will be able to plug right in. And, you know, humbly speaking, I think it'll be able to plug in helpfully. Like it's not something that they just already have, and I'm going to be a third or fourth guy on the bench in that job. So yeah, it just seemed like it was the absolute best decision when I like really weighed it all over on the hike.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's, you know, team ball, whatever the team needs, whatever we can do to get W's, that's what it's all about. And, you know, bringing over your talents is definitely going to be a boost for the squad. And, you know, it's going to be extremely fun for you to have that creative process where it's a brand new moments, you know, everything's brand new. So you'll have a lot of creativity that'll come about that, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing is like, I'm just kind of one of those guys that likes change here and there. Like, I feel like if I'm working the same job or living in the same place, all of a sudden, eventually it's like Groundhog Day and I kind of start going crazy. Like, that's why I like to be very, very jet set and like flying around. I love seeing new places and experiencing new things. So, you know, is it going to be challenging? For sure. But like just the part of the process where I get to like learn this new team and how they play and like how to get along with those guys and how to like, you know, find the chemistry with them. Like I'm excited to get to like do it all again because it's such a learning experience. And that's like my favorite thing in the world is just new things and learning.
Yeah, and you've been rolling with the same squad for quite a while. I think this is the first time you haven't been with like almost like a package deal.
That's true.
Well, it kind of is though. I forgot Tim's on the team too, right?
There we go.
So yeah, Tim from
you got
DMG,
Ben now?
and then yep, and Ben Challenger is making his way, I believe. Joe, before we get into the Discord questions, we're going to bring Quinn Nadu in. He's been backstage here in the studio. We're going to bring him in to ask an iconic question, and then we got some Discord questions for you before we let you go. Is that cool?
Yeah, cool. I'm in no rush, man. I'm comfy in my bed, so we could talk all night, but happy to talk to Quinn. So yeah, bring him on.
There he is.
What's up, guys?
What up,
Quinn
dude?
Meister? How we doing?
Look at the headquarters, Quinn. Wow. Just spectacular, man.
Yeah,
Would
man.
you
Got the
look
gun
at it?
wall back on that side. Jerseys out on that side.
Dude.
Nice.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man.
Give me a break.
I'm doing good.
Quinn, your headquarters blows my headquarters away. It's crazy.
Talk to us,
My
Quinn, man.
headquarters is the only headquarters with a Christmas tree, though. That's what we really should be talking about. Where's your guys' Christmas spirit?
I don't have any.
Oh man,
Right on.
actually, I didn't even notice that, but yeah, dude, very festive headquarters. I mean, good on you.
You know how it goes.
Dude, pumped to see you on the move, Joe. I was happy to hear about it. I guess the biggest question I have for you is, do you kind of think being in an environment that's going to promote freedom on the field a little more is going to continue to kind of develop your offensive set that's been emerging here over the last season or two?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever the team needs, I'll do. But with a true X's and O's coach like Travis, and then like a good quarterback behind me like Callie, I think this is going to be like instrumental in allowing me to continue to grow into like the attacker that I now see the potential that I can be.
Awesome.
You got to keep attacking.
Yeah,
man.
fantastic answer for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn with the iconic question. Always a good time. But sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know if that was too short of an answer, but Attacking is a lot of fun. First of all, like my whole career, I was normally like a 3 or like maybe a 2, right? And if people don't know this, like before last year, I never played like the center 50 guy. I never played the wall when it was there. I never played, the A or the X. Like I was always more of like a back insert guy. And this was my first year doing it. And I think I've bunkered more people this year than I have in like the last 10 years combined. And God, man, it's like when you have a punching bag in your room, like I'm just never upset, never argumentative. Like I get all my stress out at practice and come home and just feel like the happiest guy in the world. So I can't wait to keep attacking.
You got
Alex
some
Frazier is clapping right now.
hamburger meat too. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're playing the center, your back turns to some ground beef. Just gets mound up.
Oh yeah, dude. There are certain events I come home feeling like a cheetah. Like after World Cup, there was this one point Oliver stuck me, and I swear it felt like every shot hit like the same circle in my ribs, and he was point blank. And so it was like that area was blue for like a week or two. And then I remember when we were playing you guys, maybe it was that first Florida event. Like I was just constantly going through and like trading with like there was probably 3 you guys that were like up there with me. It'd be like Sam 1 point, Yaya another one, somebody else next one, and man, I was just getting the shit shot out of me. And then like the whole run off the sidelines, just getting torched. I felt like everybody was just like walking me into my dead box. And dude, it's like it's exhilarating and it wakes you up. You know what I mean? Because you're like, whew, this must be going well. Like people don't like this, so. Yeah, this sucks, but like I have to keep doing this then.
It comes with the territory. That. The center is hot action.
If you want, it like forces you into that flow state because you can't really there's no time to think. You either becoming ground beef or you're grinding.
That's true. That's true. All you can do is like hear the couple words of communication behind you, put the bird's eye view picture together, and then like execute the best you can with your gun skills. Like, and a lot of times you're like, okay, I see that seam is open. Other times you're like, well, I'm going to have to come around this and put that guy or 2 in, and you bully your way through it. But like, it's not like you can yell back and be like, hey, can you go to the corner for me? So like that shit's not happening. So you're just like, okay, this, that. Yep. Okay. I think this is the right move with the decision. And luckily I don't really have a lot of nerve endings left from just like countless injuries from skateboarding and all that. So I don't really mind the bonus balling, so it just kind of fits well.
Well, it's become like a wild part of the game. We're seeing some fun being had out there, and it's all in good sport too. Nobody's like maliciously trying to hurt anybody. The bruiser, I don't know, he might be going for it, but for the most part, it's all good fun and games out there.
That's true.
Shout out to the bruiser.
Yeah,
Joe,
bruiser.
I got a Discord question for you. And this is a good question, actually. Especially, I love following your travels. From Jay Lamb, one of the GOATs. Joe, biggest pet peeve when flying?
Oh, man. I feel like Jay Lamb probably watches my stories because the worst thing ever is when you literally just hit the tarmac and then everyone stands up. And these are people like that aren't at the front few seats of the plane. You're like, we got about 15
We got to get off the plane.
Yeah, but really quick, I'm going to push back on that. Why does that bother you?
Okay, because when everyone does it and grabs their bag, it does is it pushes people out of their spot. So like, you should get off row by row. Like a lot of times when you're other countries, like they'll be like, seats 1 through 5, and then those people go, and it gives people like the room to get their stuff. But when you don't, you're like trying to go, and there's always these rude people that are like sometimes 2 or 3 rows behind you that are like just not letting you out of your row. And like, man, sometimes I have to make a connection, and it's across 80 gates away in a huge airport, and if I don't get it, I'm not getting to some other country. And what am I going to do? Like yell at the next 13 people, like sit down, I need to leave. So like, you just, okay, well, and then I end up
Yeah.
sprinting through the airport with a bunch of bags.
Listen, Joe,
So-
we all got to
Anytime-
get off the plane. We're all getting off the plane.
What if-
All right.
I was just gonna say, what if those people have a connection that they have to get to as well? I just sit there and laugh every time because it's one of those things that it did used to piss me off for sure, but now it's like such a common. It makes everyone so mad that I'm like, this is actually really silly that it makes me mad because I'm just gonna sit here like I would anyway, and now the seats next to me are empty, right? So fantastic. I'm a little more comfy. Everybody goes, they get off the plane, and as soon as it gets to my portion, I'm coming out, period. And that's when I decide, it's my turn. I'll look and say, I'm getting my bag and I'm coming off, Thank you.
Dude, you
Cool.
yell at
It
the
was
first
all
class
good.
people like that, and you let you.
It doesn't happen up there, but sometimes I got to fly Southwest,
Yo,
I'm
I
way in
disagree
the
with
back.
all this, man. They call me the layover linebacker. I'm pushing my way to the front. I'm standing up. I'm gone.
Get
The
through.
layover linebacker. Oh no, the layover linebacker.
You got to get through.
That's
Okay,
the
so what
funniest
would-
thing you've ever said, Quinn?
What would be your guys' pet peeves then? Like, what is the big pet peeve when you travel?
Mine is TSA, and it's all of the different rules that they say are quote unquote mandatory. Like some will tell you, no, you can't do this. And I'm like, yes, I can. What do you mean? I literally was here yesterday and did this, and then the other, and so that to me, because I feel like it's a control thing and it depends on the person you get.
True.
That's about it. Is like, it's just frustrating because you see the people that are working there and you can tell that they're just on a little bit of a power trip and they like yell at you and they're super rude. I'm like, dude, what is your deal? You stink. You're super upsetting. That's
All right, I got a
mine
great
for
one.
sure.
Going to the bathroom. I just need to go to the bathroom on the plane. I can't. I'm 6'2". They don't make these planes for tall people. So then I'm in there like having to like be all contorted, trying to just. It's not friendly. It's not.
I'll trade you if
Yeah.
you want to be 5'10" and struggle in the bathroom. Or if you'll be 5'10" and not struggle in the bathroom, I'll be 6'2" and struggle in the bathroom.
All right.
We're cool. We can make a swap easy.
No, but
take-
honestly, I don't have really many pet peeves. I like traveling. I like just being in the mix.
Yeah.
Being on the move, seeing people, seeing the countryside, having new experiences. Joe, you're talking about just traveling all over the place. We talk about how the bulk of the time is just the process. So if you don't enjoy, we spend a lot of time traveling, enjoy that process. The people farting in your face when they stand right up to get their bags and you're, stuck in there. You got to enjoy all that kind of stuff, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say it then. I wasn't going to say it, but I think I know what all of our real pet peeve is. Keep it
What do we
PR
got?
friendly, but like, okay, so not babies because it's not their fault, right? But I get pissed off. I actually get mad at just bad parents where it's always like a little boy or two little kids, and they're like 3 to 8 years old, where like they're old enough where if you tell them like, hey honey, be quiet, you're being rude, then they'll be quiet. But for some reason, the parent, especially nowadays, will have their headphones in and they'll be looking at their iPad while their kids are just screaming and being nuisances. And like, I get it. They're kids. They're bored. It's long flights. But I just want to run over to that parent and be like, if you don't parent your child, I will. Because if I have to hear this right behind me, kicking my seat for this 8-hour flight to Europe, I'm going to go crazy. And they almost never do anything. And there's always a person next to me that's laughing about the same thing where they're like, it'll be like a military guy. And they're like, oh man,
It's
if
actually
this was a
fun
different
game.
time period.
Like,
Yeah,
it's actually a
that's
fun
good
game
one.
that parents play. The parents are like, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Let's see what we can cook up in here. And then we see how hot we can get Joe's,
I
cooking up
can't
in the
imagine
steam.
how hard I can't imagine how hard it is to fly with kids as a parent. I do not envy that.
Oh.
I'm like, whoof, because I don't know. You can't really parent the way that it would work. Like, if it was 40 years ago, you just elbow your kid in the chin really quick and they'll shut up nice and easy. You're not allowed to do that anymore. So it's like,
That's
really difficult situation. I do not envy the parents that are flying with their young kids at all.
Dude, I just had to do it recently. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Was it tough? Yeah. Dude,
Yeah, but
I don't know. Like, I feel like even if you parent your kids well, it could just get so out of hand on an airplane, especially because kids have issues too with their ears where it hurts.
Yeah.
Where it hurts really bad. So like that's a thing. But yeah, that's
Dude, young
frustrating.
Theo broke down. He was in tears. He was like, the pressure's too much up here.
No.
The airplane had him, and I was like trying to
Jeez.
give him some gum or some food or something.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, it's one of those
But you were
things
trying,
where,
and I think that's Joe's
Yeah.
point. Is like some of these parents are
Yeah,
just like, I'm
yeah.
putting my VR headset on and I'm out.
See ya.
That's where it is. You
Oh,
can't fault
all right.
toddlers or young kids or the pain, but you can fault a neglectful parent that's just not trying.
Yeah, totally.
Those are the ones. That's what's making me angry.
For
Totally.
sure.
I agree.
Dude,
with that.
Nick Slowiak is in PTG world. He's got a question, Quinn. He says, what's the next big off-season move? What do we got? We got any action out here on the streets?
Dude, honestly, it's a little slow right
What up,
now.
Nick?
Yeah.
There continues to be like this underlying rumor that there's one more like big kind of superstar move coming. I know there's been some good offers thrown around to the big names, but I think the problem is right now, like with
Which big name? There was a big name offer getting thrown around?
I mean, Revo was certainly throwing some money around trying to bring in some big talent, but that kind of went out the window because why you leaving a good contract to go play Revo right now? But I don't know.
Revo's going to be strong. They're
The craziness of last season made it tough because I would argue the Cody move is really, really big, and like that already happened. Like that doesn't happen a lot where you have a guy that has more than half a decade of experience entrenched in with a brand stepping away.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, that is true.
That's true.
And he's going to be a huge addition for X coming into 2023. Solid player, got a great work ethic, and knows how to navigate the field out there. And same with you, Joe. I mean, going with Infamous. We got, Ben is also heading over to Infamous. Sean and Caleb going to Revo. Cody going to X. There's been quite a few moves. Don't forget about Louis Betancourt. NRG swooped him up. And any pro moves, shout out to Louis making the move over there.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
it's even speaking of Joe's move to Infamous, so I keep like a big chart where I track like all the pro players' ages, where they're going, like how long they've been pro, whatever. So after this move with Ben coming on board as well as Joe, Infamous is actually now the fourth youngest roster in the NXL, which I think is interesting because if you look at the main core of their team, like the main core guys have played together a fair amount throughout their career, and kind of rounding in these younger players into that system. I think this is something over, the stretch of the next 3 or 4 years could really turn into something great.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah, that's a unique fact. And young in paintball is also hard to define because like some of us are like, I'm actually not that young, I'm 32 years old. But I'm younger than these guys in the pro league for sure. So age is kind of strange in paintball. I don't always necessarily look at that because you have guys like Barindakov's not that old, but since he was playing like these guys since he was a little kid, you just think he's such a veteran player, And then you have like older guys, like there's some grown ass men on like Hurricanes and LVL that they've only been in pro for 1 season or 2 or 3 on LVL, but those guys are like upper 30s. So they're young to me, but not in terms of like their actual age.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got Bunker Slug in the Discord. Congratulations on the signing, Joe. And what areas of the game do you look to bring to the table for Infamous that you feel may not have been there prior? And what has got you most hyped to play with the squad?
Good questions.
Slug.
Yeah, Infamous really does have everything, or at least did this last season. I just felt like they kind of underperformed because if you remember, only the year before, I think they finished like 3rd or 4th overall with like basically the same roster minus Greg Sewers. Well, Greg can attack anywhere, but Greg was often like playing elite up in the center, and that's like basically what I've been working really hard on and trying to evolve my game at. So if that's what they're really lacking, or let's say they have that, but me coming in and only specializing that allows some of their other guys to now go play in other spots, then I think that's what I'm going to bring as far as on the field. And off the field, I'll bring the same thing I do to every team. Like, I'm no Tyler Harmon, but like I bring a lot of positivity, and I'm very good at like keeping teams in the moment. Like as soon as guys start to bitch about, oh, that should have been a penalty or the ref blah, I'm like, hey, next point. We're just going to go fucking win the next one, because in my like mind, what I've noticed is like the biggest thing you can do to defeat yourself in a pro match with like that upper echelon of teams, like the top 8 or top 10, is like start letting your own team fall apart because you've lost 1 or 2 points. Now you're like already out of the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be resilient.
Yeah. I forget. What's the second part of that question?
Just what your skill set is going to be to bring to the squad that they maybe didn't have prior.
Well, I talk a lot. I'll talk a lot with all the guys, and on the field, I talk a lot and very loudly. So, I mean, that's from what I've watched, seeing them all these seasons, they're a very aggressive team. And they have guys like Callie and Cody before this who like are experienced and know what a quarterback, but like, you know, I was always taught to have like that booming voice that you can hear from another field. And I definitely plan on like implementing that as much as I can.
There we go.
I think the other thing you said was something about like, what are you most excited for? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, you know, losing my core of DMG dudes definitely sucks the first time I've got to like move somewhere alone, but I'm excited that I get to come into a team where I already have synergy, you know, like Tim Brusselback's one of my best friends. I live near him. And I've played with him several different times, but Harrison and I have played. Harrison is actually the player that I've played with longest out of anybody in the league. Like we used to play against each other in regional leagues in the Northeast since like 2009. And then we started playing with each other in, funny story, he called me 3 days before an NPPL event in like 2011. And he's like, hey, you want to come and play with us? And I'm spur of the moment. So I was like, sure. And I went and we won the event. And then ever since then, we've been traveling and playing events in other countries together. So now I get to finally play pro in the US with him. Like the chemistry is there. We play well off each other. I'm not going to let him get bunkered. He's going to go shoot a bunch of people. I'm going to go win the one-on-one after. So I'm looking forward to that just over here now.
Sick, dude.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, we can't wait to see it, man. Infamous is looking good, and we can't wait for the 2023 season to already start. It's the holiday season, but we're looking ahead into a fun year of paintball coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be lit.
Brother. JB, man, thank you so much for joining us again on PTG. Always a good time having you on. I feel like you have stories for days, so maybe make this a little more frequent.
Yes.
Dude, give me like a schedule and I'll make it happen. You know, if you want this to be once a month or once every whatever, I'm more than down to come on and share stories with you guys.
Dude, just keep the phone close. We'll just hit the digits and boom, before you know it, you're on PTG. So that's how it works.
Yeah. If I ever don't answer, just send carrier pigeon.
Yeah, we left you a voicemail, dude.
There's no signal on top of that volcano, so I'm sure I probably have 100 voicemails.
Yeah. You got to tap in. Check the voicemails. You'll hear PTG. We're on there. We're in there.
Cool.
All right, brother. Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
All right, bro.
And with gratitude. Great talking to you guys.
Much love. Good luck in the season, dude. Peace.
Much love.
All right, JB, the Pocketcato master. Really excited for Joe and his next journey, next venture with Infamous. I think it's going to be a fun team to watch. Yeah, they've got a lot of young attackers, like you said. It's cool. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, there's 3 of him, Harrison, who play together quite a bit, and Tim Brusselback, who he spent a lot of time on DMG with. So there's going to be some synergy right away.
Yeah, Ben. Sure. I feel like Ben fits in really well with that group.
Totally.
Having Challenger in there. I think it's going to be a fun squad.
Absolutely.
Quinn, what's going on 100%. In your world? What's it looking like?
Yeah, we got some. Coast? This is big weather? Time.
What do we got?
We got breaking news is what we got.
Oh, man, that is sick that you have
Iconic paintball in the house. We got the banner. If you're on the YouTube, it's breaking news central from the East Coast reporting live.
Dude, so the weather is awful out here right now. It's like 20 degrees every day and like it rains like one time when the cold weather starts, and then it just never gets dry again, and it's just pure mud like all day at work. It sucks.
But you look comfy. You look like, you look good.
Oh yeah, man, I'm good in here. Finally got all my arm movement back. I'm finally at like 100%.
Hey, there we go.
Now I can finally make my debut for Dynasty. Yeah. I've been fielding some offers, we'll see.
Hey, breaking news. You heard it here. Quinn's going for it. He wants to play for San Diego Dynasty. Let's go.
Let's see. Leave a comment below if you guys think Quinn should get a shot on San Diego Dynasty. Yes or no? Let us know.
I mean, Kevin seems to think so. He blows up my phone every day. When you coming? When you coming?
All right, Kevin. Quinn, back to the breaking news. We have important stuff to talk about. You were just in a conference with Tom Cole, and you have a lot you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, man. So wild. We went into it with kind of just the idea, I've been wanting to do press conferences with NXL forever because I think the main kind of issue to me that they have is they do a lot of good stuff, but they don't talk about it enough or make it evident enough.
Totally
and then, kind of the bad side of paintball media takes the narrative the direction they want, and then that's what the players absorb. And then, you're in this uphill battle trying to say hey, we're actually doing something good here.
Mm-hmm.
But the noise is so heavy at that point. So we kind of went into it with the thought of hey, I had 10, 15 questions for Tom kind of relating to what happened in 2022, rule stuff, some basic things. And then he came out hard at the end with, so I think the biggest thing of all this is now with the purchase of your event ID, the NXL is going to be giving $25,000 of health insurance coverage relating to injuries that happen at the event or the 2 weeks prior at layout practices, which is huge, I think.
That's unbelievable. Question, will the price of ID cards go up?
No, he seemed to imply that they've been working on this for 2 years now, trying to get a carrier to come in and do it. And it seems that from what he said, they're going to kind of keep everything at the same level it is now.
Wow. I mean, see, that's huge, right? And that's something that Tom and I had talked about. And to see it finally come to fruition that's spectacular. That's a really big thing. I mean, there's a lot of players that don't have any sort of health insurance, right? So if you get injured and you're going to play an NXL and you could have some help in that regard, that's amazing.
Oh, it's huge. And I mean, you just think of the implication, a lot of people just doing this as a hobby in divisional, they have a real life job that if they get hurt, that really messes up their ability to earn money. So, I mean, to say hey, we can at least make sure the medical bills don't bury you in this scenario, totally. I think is really big.
Fantastic. Yeah. Wow. That's good job, Tommy Cole. Yeah. There's a round of applause right there. That is monumental. Nice.
Yeah, and awesome. He's always working so hard, man. He really is.
Oh, yeah, and it was brutal. My number one thing I constantly try to do anytime I talk to Tom is just to get him to admit that he does good things and not be super humble all the time, because he's the first dude to thank everyone in the room before, saying a word about himself. So
yeah,
huge for him for sure.
Major salute, Tom Cole. And we can't wait, to see. I know he's got tricks up his sleeve. He's always cooking up something, he's going to be.
Well, he said he has something bigger that he's doing on your guys' show, and that's all he said. I don't know what the hell that would be. But I guess we'll see, because he ended the show. He just said he had one more thing that's super huge that he was going to talk on your show about. So I'm excited to hear what that's going to be.
Come on down. Let's rock, Tom.
Of course. Yeah, Tom is always welcome.
Yeah, kind of. So there was basically three huge points. That was the first big point to me. The second one, which is maybe the most interesting, is that they've been working with the Boy Scouts of America now for a while, trying to do some sort of incorporation of paintball into, for people who don't know, every year the Boy Scouts do a huge event in, I believe, West Virginia, where 50,000 kids come in, and they have all these different activities. There's sponsors from all over the world with, different sports, different games, everything. So kind of the big news is they finally have a deal set up where they're going to bring paintball to this 40,000, kid audience to kind of introduce them to the game. And kind of what's interesting about it too is, so what he said is they're going to have basically 4 different types of guns set up between the, the normal NXL mode type, electronic gun. They're going to have mech guns. They're going to have the mag fed stuff. They're going to have your typical kind of rental starter gun. just to kind of give them a taste. And they're all going to do kind of like this target shooting kind of game where they get a score. And then when they're done with everything, on top of that, they get a dog tag from the NXL that's going to have a QR code. And that QR code does a few things he mentioned that are cool. One, it shows them all their scores for the event they got, which kind of gives them, a little bit of a bragging rights thing amongst each other and keeps that conversation flowing. But two, even bigger, is it's going to give them a free pass to play paintball with them and a friend at a bunch of different participating fields all over the country, which to me is huge because like accessibility for the youth is really hard in paintball. Like there's a huge upfront cost to kind of get into the game and try it. And to have, 40,000 people, I mean, that would be the largest non-paintball, crowd brought to the sport, arguably ever, outside of maybe like the ESPN stuff. And for a young kid to be able to then go to a field, try it out for free, and then really kind of fall in love with the game. I mean, the same way we all do. We all fell in love with it at a birthday party because, one of our friends' parents might have helped out paying for the cost of it. I look at this as, this is basically going to be a 40,000 person birthday party where they all get to have that experience we all did.
Damn, that's epic.
That is totally
so cool.
Epic. Yeah, absolutely.
Way to go, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, that is grooming the future of the sport. People talk about growing the sport, yada, 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 but that's actually boots on the ground right there, making it happen. And huge props to all the fields across the nation that are participating to help contribute as well. I think it could pay dividends for sure. You get players that are, just like we were when we were younger, they go out for their first time and have a great time. And who knows, 20 years later, they're sitting here on a podcast talking about the best game in the world.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, one thing with it too that it's exciting. So he mentioned as well, they're going to get pros out so they can do an exhibition at the end of all this to where like all the kids can watch. Right. Like, because I guess he said part of their regulations is they're not allowed to do anything where like the Boy Scouts are shooting at each other or like, in that regard. So they're going to also have then like a pro exhibition game where they can see like the live thing happening, the teamwork involved, and all the crazy excitement. And one thing I want to mention for sure is because for both of you, he mentioned that like if pros can make their way out there, they'll make it happen. I will absolutely contribute money for both of you if it works for your schedule to go there. Because I would love like, especially for you two to be there. Because I think when you talk about ambassadors of the sport and the type of guys that need to be at the front lines of this, it's like you two are at the top of the list.
Damn, Quinn. Well, we're there, bro. It's a done deal. And don't even get us started on the PTG Pro School that's heading to the East Coast. That's breaking news as well.
Let's go. Yeah, that's 100% going to happen because, Tyler got to kind of see it firsthand last year. Like, it's a very starved area for pros. I mean, like, where you guys are, it's like I feel like you could just go out and play on any Sunday in SoCal and you can run into some pros and kind of get that experience. But out here, it's like, it's probably been like 2 or 3 years since like a big time pro has been like at one of the local fields like that. And I know like the feedback with Tyler was awesome. And,
dude, I'm at those local fields all the time, Quinn.
But bro, you're
mingling, rocking,
rolling. You're tied in with your crew though.
Nah, I'm in the community. You know who's not there when I'm there? You're not there. You're not there when I'm there.
I was injured all year. What do you want from me?
I thought you were coming to try out for Dynasty. I was out there literally to scout you, sent by Skinny Kevin, and you didn't show up.
Bro, I want the free ride, baby. I don't want players in my caliber don't try out. All right. I just show up. You put the gun in my hand. I ain't paying for the gun. I ain't paying to get there.
Let them know. Let them know.
Let them know. Let them know. All right, Quinn dog. You right. You're right.
But no, dude, I'm excited about it because after Tyler came out, literally for like weeks, I was putting up content about Tyler and like just getting tons and tons of messages like when's it happen again? When's it happen again? So that's why I'm jumping in on this idea now of like, we're 100% just going to turn this into the PTG East Coast School.
I love it. That'd be tight.
And then the same setup too, like any money we make is going, I'm donating rate all of it back to the field because like last year we did that with Tyler's thing. And then like Bebo did tons of cool stuff, like putting in all the lights then. So then we have Nightball now on Friday nights and it brings out a huge group of players. And I just think anything we can do to help, that's big.
Yeah, we're going to run it up.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Awesome. I look forward to it. We got to lock some dates
in. The field is amazing. Major shout out to Quick Shot.
Is that
paintball.
Quick Shot? Yeah, Quick Shot, dude. Yeah, Frank is the man.
Got the light
Love that guy. Yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah, man, he really goes all out there. Like fields around here kind of got into a bit of a slump for a while where there was no real like competition or reason for fields to kind of like for the field itself to put out a better product. And then like Bebo and Frank really like went over the top with everything. And then like all of a sudden you start to see like, oh, hey, this field's now putting in brand new turf and this one's putting in like new pits and new air stations. So like it's really helped the sport in general in this area.
100%.
East Coast ball. It's the best out there. I love going to the East Coast.
Yeah, dude, it's greasy and grimy, and it's not sexy like it is out there, but you know, it's its thing. There's a lot of arguments.
It's got its own like nuggets. You know, it's the best. The East Coast.
Dude, I'd be willing to bet at a single practice, there's probably more fights here than like a whole year of SoCal paintball and like the whole region combined. Like, I think every time I'm at the field, period, I get in some form of fight. Like, period. So,
oh my God, Quinn, take it easy. What do you got going on out there?
Oh man, you know me, dude. I'm the king of complaining about dudes like me. Like I complain about everything on the field, and you're gonna hear it. But then at the same time,
someone's got to do it.
Yeah, but if I see guys doing it, I'm yelling at them, saying, "Shut the fuck up! Like, stop complaining."
Quinn, ripping and roaring. Someone's got to do it. Quinn,
hit us with some more breaking news, Quinn.
Fuck, I guess the last big one obviously is betting, right? That's huge. So that was something.
Curious about this one.
Yeah, so that was something that, like, from what I could understand, wasn't supposed to get out. Like, we weren't going to talk about that. Like, obviously, a few people had heard about it at that point, but it kind of got leaked from a non-paintball blog that, like, just specifically does kind of gambling and sports betting. So the word kind of got out, and then Tom jumped in and kind of talked about it. So I guess kind of what it's going to be. So obviously a partner had come along that has helped legalize the idea of paintball betting. Some of the bigger kind of betting houses around the country, from what Tom said, had spent a bunch of money to figure out if betting on paintball is viable. And I guess the end result of their study was, yes, it's super viable. We think there's a great market here. And we think this sport can provide a great platform to make betting, exciting for everybody. And an interesting thing he kind of mentioned about it, which I didn't think about initially when I heard this news, was this is going to bring a lot more paintball content and video to like betting platforms and non-paintball players, because naturally, if you're going to bet on it, it's going to be on the platform. There's going to be people on these big platforms talking about it, giving analysis on it, talking about the stats when they come along here very soon. And I think to me, it's crazy because I don't know where to start, honestly. Like, I look for every major sport in America, kind of the golden ticket item to them has always been to bring sports betting in, because that brings such a massive amount of revenue that can lead to, bigger player contracts, bigger prizes, bigger everything.
My reservation with this is that all the pro players aren't even on salary yet. The referees don't get paid much. So why wouldn't? It's pretty low risk. The stakes aren't high enough yet. It's low risk for somebody to fix the betting, right? So that's a serious problem in like how they are going to have to approach that. Because what's to stop a ref from just throwing a flag because, he's getting paid $250 for the day, or, he has 10 grand on, Houston Heat beating Edmonton Impact.
Dude, it'd be like Little Nicky. Remember Little Nicky when the judges out there?
No, dude. I get it. Like, so I've seen that comment like 1,000 times since this has now just recently emerged. It feels like already. But so my own personal opinion is like, so I think the easy answer to get this is like, well, obviously it's like a felony fraud charge. So like there's a weight there. I mean, like I get a lot of the players aren't paid a lot right now, but like, are you risking like legitimate jail time?
It's impossible to prove, man. It's so hard to prove.
No, for sure. But I'm saying like, at least there's like there's something there to where the normal person's like, hey, is it worth risking for like $1,000 bet? Two, Tom had mentioned that obviously like players cannot bet on their own games for sure. So that's going to help a little bit weeding that out. And then three, kind of what Tom said that is interesting too, like through the research these betting houses did, obviously they feel confident it's not going to be a problem with the information and data they had. And I tend to kind of side with, the massive $500 million company, that they're probably going to be smarter about how to avoid that than me or anyone else will be in this process as it starts. But to me too, I almost look at it, it's like growing pains essentially. Like, do I think that will happen? Like,
I agree with that.
I feel like,
I agree with that. Sorry to interject there, just because I asked the question because it is a question that's been brought up by so many people. And that was kind of my thought too, is, maybe we go through some of these kind of issues, but in the long run, is it better for the sport? I think absolutely. I think you have to agree that it would be.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at just the history of sports betting, which I have a fairly good understanding of, because that's what my brother does for a living. He has a big show on Barstool where that's like all he talks about. So like I'm well versed in the history of sports betting. Like if you look at the major leagues like MLB, NFL, like the major turning points in those leagues' popularity was when the mafia came in and started giving betting lines on these sports, because it drew an entirely new and massive stream of revenue coming to this. Because I think it's foolish to think that when betting occurs, it's only going to benefit the top dog betting house in terms of revenue. I mean, when more money's on the line, naturally, that's going to bring higher net worth individuals into this sport that then are going to say, maybe I want to jump in a team. What can I do to sponsor this? And I think over time, we're going to fight through these growing pains. We're sure, like, well, dude, probably come along and throw a game. Yeah, there's going to be a point shaving scandal at some point here. But I think if you put the kind of barricades in place to limit that as much as possible, the future revenue influx that comes from this, I think, is going to be one of the bigger turning points to what makes it where every player is making money. And it's not just the top, 3%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was
very
actually
well said.
A question from Papa Sash. He was wondering about those concerns. And he
Love Papa Sash.
Yeah, Papa. He was always wondering, there's been a lot of talk about how Archie is going to Dynasty, and how that was a major move. But not a lot of talk about how many times 4-leaf for life Nick Slowiak has beaten Archie in a one-on-one. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't even have a thought. Like, I don't know. I don't even honestly know how to answer that. I'm like stumped.
Damn, you just stumped Quinn. He doesn't even know what to say.
Papa Sash.
Yo, Papa Sash. Damn. Hey, Nick played those very well. Nick's no slouch, And
so see, I guess
Nick
my only real answer when you talk 1v1s, like someone like Nick, like awesome, great, cool, love it, but like win some events and then I'll be like, hey, let's talk about this fucking guy. You know what I mean?
And he has in 2020 with the Ironman. Nick Slowiak was a major reason that the Ironman won. He was a steady gunfighter, shot people off the break. His gun skills were, a huge component to that. He played every single point.
Absolutely.
So Nick Slowiak's no joke. And then, Archie is just one of the best ever. So props to Nick, taking down a Titan. It happens to all of us.
Straight up. That's no lie.
I'm still surprised though. I think that's the first paintball question I've been asked in a long time where I don't have like an instant thought popping in my head.
You were like stunned. I've never seen that out of you. That's funny.
It was processing. It's like a computer.
Yeah. I just do this gambling thing. I'm really intrigued about because if done correctly, right? The amount of revenue that it could bring in. Is there a timeline on this? When's it going to happen? Where will people be able to go to be able to bet on paintball?
So I have heard the words of like who is going to be kind of the partner in all of this. I'm not going to divulge it yet because it's not my place. But it seems like this is something that's pretty much going to be like a hit the ground running thing here. Like they spent a ton of time getting this done. They somehow kept it secret for a long time, and it seems like they're going to pretty much hit and run because I mean, there's already like again outside betting media companies like putting this in press releases now and talking about it. So to me, I think that makes it feel like it's going to be like a right away thing that we're going to be able to jump in, which I think leads to that same conversation too, that I think this is going to make stats and accurate stats all the more critical that, it gets done quickly, which is why like, obviously 2022 didn't go the way we wanted, collectively together, but, kind of the direction we're putting it now, it looks like we're going to have a good rollout coming here right away to start the season. And I think, with an input of stats now, betting, I think if say you just, let's use easy numbers. Say you look at NXL and there's a $10 million pie there right now. I mean, I think when you start talking about bringing in betting stats and that kind of money, that's going to be like, you know, a 10-fold size pie, I think, over time. So,
and we got to show love. Shout out to the mini golfers, the slap fighters, and the paintball players.
Dude, what the hell is any of that?
Don't even worry about it because it's official.
Don't even worry about it.
Pro League Network is launching their portfolio of these niche sports waging events, and mini golf to the moon, paintball to the moon, slap fighters to the moon. Where we headed?
It's funny because I see that list. I'm thinking like, okay, like near $1 billion industry, like mini golf. I play with like my grandma on Tuesday night. Like, what's the connection here? But I mean, I don't know, dude.
I am so concerned about the refs being able to contribute. The players would be much more difficult, I think, but you have a ref that has a cousin or a friend, and you're like, hey, put 10 grand on this game. Dynasty's not winning this one. Like
that kind of ties into something I brought up with Tom earlier in the press conference, where I brought up concerns, obviously, as a divisional player and being involved with a divisional team. Like, what is his plan and the NXL's plan for improving reffing? Because, people naturally bitch all the time. It's what it is. But you can make a pretty strong argument on the divisional field that there's an issue there in the reffing. And he had actually mentioned, I forget the exact name of it. It was like the World Officiating like Expo or something. I don't know what the hell it was, but basically every sports league on earth sends refs, representation from their league, officiating professionals, everybody. It's this massive expo, and the NXL actually went to it, and Tom went to it. And they were sitting in on these meetings, listening to input, asking questions on how they can improve their reffing going forward. And it seems like they're pretty set on improving the pool of refs, improving the training, improving everything to kind of push it along with this new development.
Well, that's actually a hot take item because it wasn't just recently. Wasn't there rumors of, I think, a handful of refs possibly not returning? Is there any merit on that?
So he shot all that down right away. So basically, it seems like what it was equivocated to is the rumor started getting spread by another media person that Dan Perez, who's probably the longest tenured ref in all professional paintball, dating back to 2004 with the MPPL, started spreading the rumor that he either left or got fired from NXL, which Tom immediately shot down and said that's 100% false. Like, Dan's our guy. He has been forever. He's super knowledgeable. And it essentially seems like what that entire story came down to was there was a ref basically gunning for Dan's job. And that was kind of a non-professional way of airing that dirty laundry from that story that kind of emerged. So Tom pretty much shot that down dead in the water, that none of that is real.
Well, that's good to hear. And shout out to the refs. It is not an easy job. It is, and we need you to uphold the integrity of this sport. It is the most valuable job, actually. It's what keeps the games rolling and makes sure that we have quality paintball matches being played. So major love to the refs out there, and we can't wait to see you all dominating fields this upcoming season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Marcelo, I'd love to hear your take a little deeper into the betting, and Tyler as well, like where you feel as like a high level pro player, like how does this news sit with you, and how do you see it, affecting the league?
Yeah, for me personally, it doesn't change my direction of where I'm headed as a player. Always going to be going for the gold. And I think the most important thing is it's super exciting for the overall game to have that exposure, like you said, in so many different ways through so many different platforms on legitimized big platforms that are going to help the sport get taken a little bit more seriously. And I think that we're going to see, obviously, if everything goes well, we'll get more revenue that will go into the game as well and help us really propel this sport that we all love so much, and that I'll never stop saying it, like the sport has no respect on the name yet. And I'm so hungry for that respect on the name because it's one of the most difficult games you'll ever play. If you play this sport, you know what I'm talking about. It's extremely trying in so many aspects, from communication, posturing, knowing decisions to make, and just navigating the paintball field. And it's tiring too. Don't even get me started on the athletic side. You'll be gassed after a couple points. So it's a really extremely difficult sport that I think needs respect on the name. It still hasn't got that in the landscape of sports. And I will never stop fighting for this game because it's so much fun and it has so much potential. And I think that we're on the verge of some really big production here with the sport moving forward, with having, this wagering event going on.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of name, I forgot. Tom also did mention that the Major League Paintball name change is confirmed.
Oh, wow.
It seems like they're going to retain the thing of like, they're going to call it the NXL Pro Tours, like as it's kind of, delineage with that. But it seems like as a whole, the organization is moving to that name. And he kind of mentioned they're doing that because like Tom goes to, an expo and he says right away, the number one problem you have is you go to a professional sports expo, you have like NFL. We know what that, National Football League, that explains itself. Major League of Baseball explains itself. Then you get to National Expo League, and he said the first question he gets is, what the hell is X-Ball? And then instead of, trying to sell this person on your league, now you're trying to explain what the hell it even is. So
very true. I did see that there's already Major League Pickleball. Does it not matter?
He had mentioned that they shot down the first trademark they put in, actually got shot down because of something that Major League Pickleball, I guess they flagged it as an issue with their trademark. He said their trademark process is like done now. So I guess they figured it out and they have the name retained. So
nice.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
That's major.
Yeah, I think that's a cool, super cool thing. Looks official, looks cool. I'm just trying to think though of other sports that have like the same acronym, for their league. I don't think there is anyone, and I actually think pickleball is a little more popular than paintball right now. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I'm not really sure.
Bro,
it sounds
one
cool
professional
though. I like Major
pickleball
League
player.
Paintball. Dude, Tanner Tomasi, your boy.
Is he?
He's like flirting with being pro. I
He's
don't
a
know
freak
if he is
athlete.
quite pro. Yeah, he is totally.
That sport is growing like crazy too. And
it's blowing up.
MLP, Marcella, you probably would have liked the NPA. You know what I mean? You love NBA. NPA would have been a hitter for you. But
or NPL, National Paintball League.
Sure, NPL. I really like what they went with. Major
I
League
do too.
Paintball.
It sounds the
I think
best. Yeah, Major League Paintball sounds
really
the best.
good.
I said the MLDZ, but they shot it down.
The MLDZ.
What does DZ
nuts.
stand for?
These nuts.
No, but honestly, I do love the name because it's just like, again, if there's like an ad and it says Major League Paintball, if I'm just a normal casual dude, I know what the hell that is right away.
Mm-hmm.
So
damn,
totally
Major
agree.
League.
Totally agree.
Marcelo, jump in on your take with the betting, man. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could not have said it any better than Tyler. He elaborated very well and hit on all the points that I think I agree with and some. So I don't have much to add other than here's what I do know. I know that all major sports have it, and it's a huge contributor to the growth of sports and to the success of sports and in keeping people interested in sports. So all of the kinks and the downside and the things that we have to go through to and work out along the way, I'm willing to, selflessly put, my own personal want of like not, having any risk of, maybe games being thrown or losing the integrity of the actual game. If, in the long term, it's a net benefit for the game. And, that'll be remain to be seen. There's still a lot of details that I don't know. So I would love to know what the barricades are and what plans they have in place to, uphold the integrity of the game and make sure that things like that don't happen. But you stated that very well. You're going to put the faith in the $500 million company that already does this. But granted, I don't have a ton of faith that they're experts in paintball and totally understand the ins and outs of everything involved in the sport and, what referees make. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't have all those details. So it's hard for me to really give a full in-depth opinion. Again, just what I do know is that it's a big contributor to sports and their success all major sports have it, allow it. So I see it as a step in the right direction. I just hope that we do everything we can to make sure we, uphold the integrity of the game. And then outside of that, it could be very exciting, like very exciting. I know I'll be participating if that's allowed. I think you said that I can't bet on my own games, but we could bet on like other games.
Yeah, that
like,
seemed to
can I
be
bet on how many 2-on-1s Tyler's going to win in a tournament? Because
bro, that's going to pay out like negative money. Like you bet 100 and they're like, all right, we'll give you 80 back. Cause like, obviously that guy was going to be the top.
Odds are way in his favor. No, I think that could be exciting stuff, man. I really do. And let's say worst case scenario, it doesn't get new eyes on paintball or people that aren't interested on paintball to watch. What I guarantee you it will do is it's going to get the people that are kind of interested in watching paintball more interested in paintball, because now it's just like fantasy football. I'm a football fan, but when I'm playing fantasy football, I am a serious fan. I'm a Sunday from morning till night glued to my phone on my paintball or on my football app and on my, watching football. So, similar kind of concept. When you have money on the line, when you're betting.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt. I think that's a good point. Cause like you think of like now, like the average fan, I'm going to say most likely doesn't care if like, say Saints and like, I know they're relegated now, but say like Saints and DMG play, they probably don't care, but
if it's part of their parlay, they do.
Yeah, dude. If it's in the parlay and that's the last hitter on Saturday night, like they're fucking the biggest, Saints fan on earth all of a sudden.
100%.
Hell yeah.
And, that's huge because that helps with like, the branding of every pro. Like naturally, if you bet on the Saints, you might know like, oh, this is their guy. I got to make sure I watch him. The same way, like if you bet on a game, you're like staring at, Saquon Barkley, like, oh my God, please get a touchdown. Like,
yeah,
Agreed.
So true. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it all develop into the future, and we're rooting for it. Let's go. And actually, the Pacacado, he's still in the studio with us. He had a great idea. He's saying we should implement like someone to hype the crowd up kind of with the mic. They were doing it at Cup a little bit. They had someone that was like telling the score and hyping the crowd up, which is really cool. And I think as we grow, we'll start to see that kind of implemented possibly at more events, but they definitely were running that at Cup.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get Tom on for a live conference. I got a lot of questions and things that I would love to implement that seem very simple. Like the grandstands absolutely needs a scoreboard.
Yeah.
To not have a scoreboard in the grandstands is insane. Like you don't understand the drama of the point sitting there, you don't know that, there's 60 seconds left. And like that is imperative, you don't know the score unless you're like taking stats on it. So we need some scoreboards in the grandstands. Please. That's a big one. We really gotta do that. And I think they'll see the value in that as well.
Dude, call me crazy talking about doing stuff with fans. I 100%, this has been an idea I've had forever. I think they should have like a closed VIP section at the center field line on the pro pit side that can watch all the chaos that is in the pro pits, and all the revenue that generates should go into whatever, the prize pool, players, like the pro players, whatever. Because I will say personally, like I'm in and out of the pits a lot writing. I think like the coolest shit I have ever seen is sitting watching like a Dynasty Heat game and just listening and watching what happens in the pits. Like it adds so much drama and weight that you just do not experience on the stream. You don't experience on the grandstand side. Like it's just crazy. Like they should implement something like that, make it a little higher dollar ticket, put that money right in the pro division.
I do see a logistical nightmare with that though. There's a lot of electronics and heavy machinery right there.
Thank
Might
God.
not be the safest spot.
Thank God we got Quinn with the notepad in there, sending out hot fire to the people so that you guys can enjoy all the
I was staying
details.
as close as I can to Trozen as possible, and he constantly looks over his shoulder and death stares at me, and I stand right there.
Get him, Tro.
That's where all the good stuff is.
It is. Dude, the pits it's Yonkers in there. We're having fun, trying to win these paintball tournaments, going for it.
Not to be off topic, I still think the coolest shit I've ever seen on a paintball field ever was the Mid-Atlantic Major this year. I was just right at the Dynasty pits during the Revo game when it wasn't going so well. I think Blake had just gotten either back-to-back penalties or there was like a point in between. And like it started to get a little, not heated, but I'm saying like you could really see the tone change where like, all right, guys, like lock the fuck in. Like we got to beat these guys. Like the finals, final strips on the line. And I think just watching how that unfolded was probably, I think, my favorite paintball memory of like all time, because like you see the thinking process of a top level pro team when stuff isn't going to the game plan, and how they just like so viciously and rapidly react to that. And like everyone's on the same page. It's just like so cool to see. There's not like on divisional, when those moments happen, it's always like one dude screaming and then everyone else is like, kind of clammed up. Like like watching Dynasty, it's like crazy. Like Marcelo comes off and he gives like 3 pieces of info that right away, like Archie or Ryan instantly absorb. And then between the 3 of them, they instantly have a game plan of how they're going to overcome it. And then all of a sudden, they whip off like 3 straight points and just win it. Like, I think that's something that like, if they could somehow find a way to incorporate that into a fan experience in some way, like whether it's pit cams, stands, or whatever.
I think you're exactly right, Quinn, but that's Go Sports' job, in my opinion, because that should all be post-production stuff. I think there's some stuff in the pits that isn't for public consumption. Maybe that needs a change. I don't know. Maybe the players just need to be better. But I love what Go Sports did with that, and it was that Dynasty Revo match. They did the in the pits. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Yeah, they did that little segment, and it was in the pits of that game, and I thought that was incredibly captivating. It was our team, so maybe I'm a little more interested, but I actually would argue that I would be even more interested if it was Houston Heat and Impact or Russian Legion, or other teams. I'm more curious to see how these other teams interact and their inner workings. But I think more of that would be awesome. It's a shame we haven't seen any of that from Chicago or World Cup yet. I wish there was more stuff coming out from Go Sports, because that's the kind of stuff that I think it keeps people really captivated.
Yeah, they've been crushing it with the mic edition. I think putting the mic on players, hearing conversations, hearing how people are navigating the field. It's one of the most important components of the game that we play. And I think that it is, not heightened quite as high as it will be in the future. I think that's going to be a major focal point as we move into the future of paintball, is the comms, is the onboard ride, and seeing how they're talking about how they're going to navigate the field. Because it's one thing to watch, but when you're up close to the field and you can hear what the players are all saying, and the Go Sports experience is amazing because we have Maddie and they all walk us through the details of what's going on. But there's nothing quite like being on the net, being right there at the field and hearing both sides of the communication and seeing, okay, this is how it's going to go down right now. And you can kind of read the seams and read that book before it ever happens.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like,
Totally.
I mean, it's the difference of like, watching a war documentary versus, being in the trench with the bombs exploding. It's like, we've all been at some point in our career, like in the shit of like the tense paintball matches. And I think like getting to see that experience, it just like clicks that trigger for everybody to where it's like, this is so captivating and cool. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, we always got to have like that component. The communication component is huge for paintball. We got to make sure that we capture that. And there's been a ton of off-season moves that we've seen. I kind of want to dig into that with you, Quinn. What do you think about everything that's been going on? Obviously, we just had Cody go to X Factor. I guess we'll just start there and kind of get your tidbits on that. And then I have a few more players I want to talk to you about.
Yeah. So again, I think Cody going there was like the biggest shocker. Like that was more shocking to me than some of the stuff that happened last year with like the Saints, just because like if you had to say, hey, pick one guy who's retiring on his team, like first pick's probably Marcelo, second pick's probably Cody to me, because I'm like, this dude is like entrenched in the pro DNA brand. Like I think he worked for Travis for like how long? Like I was like, this guy's never going to leave. So when he did, it was really surprised me, but the more I thought about it, I really liked the fit. I'm one that will say I think this move does make them better than they were last year. That's not a knock saying that Rainey leaving and Cody coming on board makes them better. Like Rainey is like, I would for sure say Rainey is the better overall player for sure. Like, don't get me wrong there. But Cody just plays a different style backline role. Like, Rainey goes out there and he's the guy that, again, he's watching what his ones are doing and he's looking, okay, how can I make a move based off that? Like, how can I go blow the game open because, Billy's wrapping the 50. Like, where's my move there? To where Cody's going to be a lot more of the guy of like, hey, Billy's held up at the S2. How can I get him down the field and let him go shoot everybody? Kind of like in a role that you or Marcelo play a lot of the time. And I think for guys like Jesse, LJ, Billy, I think they are guys that really thrive when that type of dude's behind them. So again, that's not to say anything against Rainey. Again, Rainey's phenomenal, but it's just Cody really fits the role of that guy who's like, I'm just going to fucking anchor my foot with a chain to this trash can, and I'm going to get my guys down the field and like let them go kill everybody. Because I think we did get to see a little bit of that with Billy this past season. Like, he had a slow start for sure compared to that, like, Snake Player of the Year performance he did in 2021. And I think some of that was because he needs that dude that's kind of QBing a little bit more behind him and, willing to just say, hey, I see a move there for myself, but I'm going to anchor in and make sure this guy gets what he needs.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. And he plays that role seamlessly. And when he needs to get up on the horse and go get it done, he gets it done too.
Yeah, for sure.
He's no slouch when it comes to attack mode as well. And if you sleep on him, he will be in your Doritos shooting you in the riblets, getting the eliminations.
I will say I might have got a little excited in my breakdown. Like, if I look at like my heart of hearts, like I think this team still does have a little bit tougher of a road to win a pro event this year. And that's more of a commentary on the rest of the top four, not saying they're not good enough. It's more so like you really have to have a lot go right. If your name isn't Heat, Impact, or Dynasty to win an event, because like you basically need all three of those teams to, not play so well. And then, that's tough in itself. And then you really got to kind of play out of your mind on top of that as a non-top 3 program. So I don't know if they'll win an event this year, but I do think we're going to see them build a little more on that kind of later season success that they found.
Yeah,
no slouches.
No, not at all. In the beginning of the show, we were talking about how resilient X Factor just is as an organization. It's in their DNA. Honestly, every time there's been some sort of what seemed like a major setback to the outside world or their peers, they continue to show up and compete and take down top level teams. So, it's a testament to Alex Martinez and Ryan Brand and just the organization itself. I'm excited to see them play. I'm a huge fan of X Factor, always have been.
And I love Ryan Brand. Like, in your opinion, where does he sit on, like, just from outside in, not looking at your own team's coaches, to me, I think Ryan Brand sits at like the top. Like, that fucking dude is smart when it comes to paintball.
He's got a spectacular coaching style. Yeah, for sure. He's top notch.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah, because he brings like that insane, intense obsession that like the top level guys like you have, but he does it as a coach, which I honestly don't think we've Rusty was kind of to that level of obsession as a coach, but like I think it's really rare that you get a guy that just like every minute detail he obsesses over for perfection. I think that's really cool to see as a coach.
Yeah, he goes the distance.
Totally. I think that's why they've been able to rebound so well, though, too, right? It kind of starts as like he brings the culture of a team, the coach kind of can set the tone. And Ryan Brand was a player not too long ago. And like you said, he's a huge student of the game. And I don't know, when you play against them, I'm not totally sure where these ideas and plays are coming from, but you assume it's coming from the coach, in those kind of situations. And from what I've heard from Archie about, the way Ryan Brand approached the game. I'm a big fan. I do think he sits up at the top. If there's a Mount Rushmore of coaches, I think he's got to be one of the 4.
Yeah, for sure. It's like what? It's him, Rusty, Shane, and like probably
Skinny
Bob
Kevin,
Long.
dude. I don't know. Skinny
Bob.
Kevin is winning a lot right now.
I don't know, man. Bob was doing some crazy shit in the early mid 2000s.
And shout out to Tizzle, Cash Money Martinez. He's a goat.
Yeah,
goat coach.
Yeah, that's always such a tough thing too. Like the different eras, right? Because it's just a totally different game. So
Bob,
even the Mount Rushmore and other sports, I think I like Goat Mountain instead. Goat Mountain is great.
Mountain.
So You could have just like all the goats. Yeah, Bob's on there, Shane
Yeah.
Pistana, Dave Baines, Todd Martinez, Ryan Brand, the original,
Me, I'm a
well, not
great
the
coach.
original
Quinn.
Russian Legion coach. We're just gonna ignore that, Quinn. But Maxime had a lot of wins with Russian Legion.
I mean, the dude was
Theo
groundbreaking as a
Binsky.
coach. Yeah,
Mhm.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, 100%. And Quinn, okay, you can kind of be like at the bottom of Goat Mountain on a sheep, trying to ride your way up.
I'm like the Rock that like I was getting carried up and I just like fell down. I rolled back to the bottom, start over.
And
Rolled back to the
Hinman, I mean, you got to have Hinman in there.
Hinman,
of course.
Hinman is 100% on Goat Mountain as a
dude.
coach. Hinman to me is the ultimate player developer. I think
Mhm.
like talk about player development, from a young age. I don't know that anyone's better. Ty, I know you came up under Bob Long. I never really got to spend that kind of time with Bob, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But for me, Mike Hinman has just produced so many elite level players, and continues to do so. And he's still, I like this new move that I think he's going to take with Aftermath, kind of a further role, kind of sitting back, but wanting to bring in a whole bunch of young talent, right? And try to see what he can do with that. Because I think the younger players are the ones that excel a little bit more. As far as like the way the game is played, you have a conversation with Mike Hinman. It's like, it's rare that I have had conversations with Mike about a match or a point, and his idea of how it was played or should have been played is wrong. I like agree with him on philosophy in so many ways. So yeah, Mike's definitely up there. Travis has done a pretty good job. Travis has done a fantastic job. And obviously we just had Joe on the show. That's his new coach. I don't want to leave anyone out, but I don't think there's many others, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed all, the big hitters. I mean, I think the more we talk and think about it, I would probably make Shane my one, and then maybe like Ryan Brand 1A or 1B.
Yeah, Shane and Ryan Brand, I think, are two very different coaches. What I like about Ryan Brand is he has the analytics, the stats, and the passion, right? I think he is like, when we talk about well-rounded players, you have some coaches that are strictly analytical. They're going to give you the best information you could get, right? They understand X's and O's and all that kind of stuff, but they don't also motivate you. And then you might have a coach that is pure motivation, but he's not going to help you out with the X's and O's. He's not going to give you the information you need as a high level player to, take down your opponent. Where I think Ryan Brand is one of the few that truly has both, I think you're seeing more and more of it now in paintball. Skinny Kevin at World Cup did a fantastic job of it. It was, out of character for Skinny Kevin to be the motivator. That's not his thing. And I was really impressed with after one of our games, I think this was our very first match, actually. He got fired up, and it was actually directed towards me. I had a terrible match, and I took that very well. It was something I needed. I was happy that he did that. I was happy to see the passion and the drive. And I think you're seeing better coaching than ever before. I remember not too long ago, it was like not all the pro teams even had coaches. That wasn't that long ago. Now it's like it's a standard, and coaches get paid now. And 10 years ago, coaches getting paid wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and we just had like the player coach, and that was it.
Yeah, good luck doing that. That's so strenuous on everything. We also got to show major love to the late Paul Richards from Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, there's one for sure.
He absolutely deserves that chair and is all-time coach for sure.
I would honestly put like Rich in that conversation a little bit, solely for the reason, like, I mean, if you do talk develop, like, so you have player development guys like Hinman, but then like, I think like in terms of talent evaluation, man, there was a lot of top level current pros that came from the excessive camp. Like that
so
were
true, man.
Nobodies when they started playing with them.
I have to give a huge, major shout out to Rich Telford and his coaching abilities over the years. Even from when I was like a youngster, I wasn't actually on his team, but I would play at the local field when he was like coach of the Los Angeles Ironmen and Excessive and these huge titans of paintball teams in the early 2000s. And the kernels of knowledge that I got from that man have stuck with me throughout my entire career. Him, And Dave Baines even, you know, he has taught me things in my early like malleable years, and I'm always malleable, but those were like such fundamental growing years where I was able to get these huge kernels of knowledge on how to approach the game and how to be as a player that that molded me into the player that I am. So, you know, Bob Long, Rich Telford, Dave Baines, major ups to their coaching abilities and everything that they've done in the game as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think that's like Goat Mountain then, basically. I can't think of anyone else where I'm like,
we built it.
Yeah, 100%.
God, I really feel bad if we're leaving someone out.
Oh, there's another one. Joey
Blute.
Yeah.
Joey Blute. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Intense motherfucker.
He is an intense motherfucker. I feel like he's more of a GM. He's like he's a general manager. I feel like much less as a coach. That's why he's trying to get a coach. You know, that could be breaking news.
There we go.
All right, fine. You heard it. He hired me. He hired me away from newbies. I couldn't deny my ability to break down the box. So
I will throw some love towards Dan Wake.
Dan,
shout out to Dan Wake. I remember those days. You know, he brought a professionalism that hadn't really seen in pro paintball at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way he would do his packages. You know, like it was just interesting how he would piece plays together. Very unique and very aggressive. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like a oh my gosh, what's the basketball coach? Not Montoni, Mike.
Travis D'Antoni?
Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni. You guys know Mike D'Antoni?
7 seconds or less, dude. I'm a lifetime Suns fan.
Exactly.
Yeah. AZ shout out.
Yeah.
Let's go, Quinn. Let's go, baby. And Greg Pauly, also legend coach in the game.
Yeah. Greg Pauly too. Okay.
I mean, if you want to also include like
don't know if he makes Goat Mountain though.
I don't know if you can call them coaches, but I think they're Goat Mountain for how sick they are at coaching events is like the OG Dynasty 10-man runners like Glenn Forrester. Like,
yeah, Glenn.
I don't know if you could call him a coach, but the dude is like a fucking genius when it comes to 10-man. Like, it's absurd. I mean, what? He kind of coached like Avalanche in the heyday, I guess. He was like a player coach back then.
Glenn's been getting down. He's still running people down. He's out there. Glenn is playing paintball.
He is out there. He is.
Go get him, Forrester.
All right, guys, we're starting to regress a little bit here.
No way, no regression here.
I got some questions. I got some questions from the Discord, and this is a big one. I didn't know this wasn't the case, and I want to show some love because I got them right here. By the way, Quinn. Shout out to the tank tool. This thing is seriously amazing. What a game changer this thing has been. The tank tool is I don't know how we went this long without this. I really don't know. I don't know.
Doing?
I don't
know.
Dude,
I said it was
so
like
long without
what
this.
Carl first brought, like we kind of like the whole thing how it went, like
it's like frustrating.
Yeah, like we kind of talked for like on and off for a while, like not face to face ever. And then like I ran into him at Chicago last year. And then he kind of randomly started telling me about this idea. And like I always say with anything I invest in or like get involved in, if my first thought is right away, that's so stupid, why didn't I think of it? I know right away this is a fucking killer product because like that's think of like every dumb or like not dumb, say like every product you use in your life a lot. It was like when you think about it, you're like, this was so fucking simple. Like a Keurig. Why did it take so long for someone to figure out, like, just put the grounds in a little fucking cup? Like, you know what I mean? But so like, and he kind of brought it and told me about it.
It's an Nespresso, dude. Nespressos are so much better than Keurigs. I don't even know why you would mention a Keurig on the show.
I don't even use a Keurig, dude. I'm dripping fucking espresso machine for life.
Sure you are dripping.
But no, like, so he brought it in and we kind of like, I had some kind of ideas from the engineering and design side, because that's kind of what I have a lot of experience in from like my other career. And we kind of made some tweaks, changes, dialed it in. And then I was like, hey man, like I can help you with like getting manufacturing on this because like, I know that's kind of a hard world to jump into. And then, you know, from there, it really kind of blossomed into like, we worked well together. You know, we talk like 20 times a day, every day, like stupid convos, business convos, whatever. But the tank tool, we've been like, it's been super well received. Like, I mean, it's again, like you're saying, where has it been? Like, it's like, how many times have you smashed your regulator against like a random table or edge to like, rush to get to the plane? And it's like, I feel like that didn't matter like 10 years ago, maybe when like regs were cheap, but now it's like, dude, a nice reg's like $200, $250. I don't want to smash that against the, the hotel lobby table before I leave.
So our question is from Shaka. He wants to know, when will the H2K tool be compatible with the powerhouse regulators?
Dude, so we're already working on it. Carl came out like 2 weeks ago, and we had some we're very we sketch shit on paper to start. And a lot of times the design process of how H2K works is Carl really just draw something on like a napkin or like a margin of like a piece of paper, whatever, and then we just hit it. I start 3D modeling it. We just if you look back here, that way, that big thing back there is a 3D printer I keep up here in my top shop. And then we literally just hit it, and we'll print like 30, 40 models in a day, dialing these in. So we have the powerhouse one and a really cool additional tool that's going to be kind of with that and partner with it, that you'll get with it as well. And it's actually going to be a tool that we think is going to have like a really widespread use just like outside of paintball as well. So we're really excited for that. We're looking for around February or early March for that to hit. And we're going to just, hit the ground running with that one too, and really get it moving.
There we go. You heard it here. That's amazing. And congratulations on that project, because it is a tool, like you said, like what have we been doing? Everyone's going to be using it. I've used it. Thank you so much, H2K. And Carl, Quinn, you guys crushed that. Where can they find these at?
H2kpaintball.com. We also have some retail partners. Travis at Infamous, he's been a huge partner with us from the start. GG Sports Park, which is the huge field that just opened up down south. He was one of our day one launch partners. We're actually just getting ready to send a super sick custom anodized, custom logoed order out to him tomorrow, which I recommend hitting his site at ggsportspark.com to grab one of them. And then Lone Wolf, actually, too. They're also one of our retail partners as well, which I know they partner with you on the show.
Let's go, Lone Wolf.
We just sent a bunch of them as well, and they're going to be doing those in kind of like a swag bag thing. So we're excited about that. I know Tony's going to get ready to put a review up here soon, which we're super pumped about.
That's badass.
Fantastic, dude.
We got CM Harry in the Discord. And Quinn, thank you for also being a part of PTG World. You're in the Discord. You're always having fun with the community. It's a great time in there. So
dude, I love it. I say it every time on the show. If you're not in it, get in it, because it's just fun, dude. I like it because you have the main chat where it's kind of like any level of chaos or nonsense can happen. And then you have all the little other groups where it's like, if you just love talking about macro line guns like me, there's a group for that. You love talking about your flex, there's a group for that. That's what I love about it. And you get, the early snippets of news that no one else gets. And it's just, it's fun.
It is a good time. And we're in there. We're in there all day, every day. So if you want to have some fun, chat with us about paintball, it's paintball heaven, 7 days a week, nonstop paintball fun in there. And we appreciate you being a part of the community. This one's from CM Harry. He's wondering when the Iconic Awards for this year are going to drop. Anything you can drop on the show in regards to that. And then you kind of already answered his other question about the tool, which he said is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So shout out CM Harry. Love that guy. He's always up in my Instagram messages, chatting a little bit. So with the awards, actually, I just got done with a super long convo with Maddie on that. Obviously, Maddie's always involved with the awards as a judge, with the Ghost Sports platform, everything. So we're looking in about 2 weeks. We're going to do a big rollout show on Ghost Sports, which is going to be kind of fun this year, because last year we did kind of like the slow trickling of nominees, and it took a really long time, and I felt like it maybe killed the excitement a bit. So now we're going to kind of do like a huge debut show where we're going to bring in coaches, players, fans, other media guys like Zizek, bring in all these dudes that love talking about paintball, and we're going to, reveal the nominees. We're going to dive into, speculation on who might win, who might not, the ones people agree with, the ones they don't agree with. So we're shooting for that around the 28th of this month, barring, any schedule changes with all the people we're going to have on. And we're also adding a new element this year. So last year we kind of played with the fan vote model a little bit, where we did an exclusive vote in the PTG Discord. A couple of the non-playing categories we're going to open up to like a full level fan vote this year, where just the community at large can vote, which I think is going to be fun because it kind of gives them more of a say in more of the kind of media stuff and the product driven stuff to really let the paintball at large speak of like what was the best product, like not some sponsor coming in or anything. It's just what was the best, or like the media thing, who was just the guy you loved consuming the most, who is the videographer that you just loved watching. Like, I think that'll kind of bring that interaction in a bit more and honestly make it even more accurate, because like players, I think you really got to watch a lot of paintball to judge those awards. Like, I'm really protective on making sure that those truly award who the best guy in each category was. But something like media, it's so subjective. So I think having that huge base of people to draw off is going to make it really fun this year.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to have the community all coming together. It's a fun thing that you've brought to life, and Go Sports has quarterbacked it with you and been there every step of the way. And it just adds those layers to the game that we need, right? More paintball, more fun, more engagement, and you guys are doing a spectacular job with that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate it. I think it makes it exciting. I think me just as a fan, I try to watch it from the outside in then. I was like, I knew who won the awards, and I'm sitting there thinking like, man, like, I really hope it, like, I wish it was this guy though, because like that's my guy. Like, I love that guy, but like, it doesn't come down to one person's voting or anything else. So
I knew you didn't want me to win.
I think the award's always a great way. What do you mean, dude? You won like 2 huge awards last year. You won 3 awards last year.
I'm so appreciative of those trophies. I keep them near and dear, and the headbands you did. One, just because, again, we talked about this earlier in the show, man. Professional paintball players don't make a ton of money. We do this for pride. We do this for our brothers and sisters out there. We do this for our team. We do this because it's our own personal challenge. So to get any sort of recognition for what we do and all the sacrifice, the time, and everything that's put into it is amazing. So thank you, Quinn, for the whole Iconic Awards thing. It's just awesome.
Dude, appreciate it.
Quinn, Fab, he wants to know thoughts on how to improve season points and ranking. I know you brought it up before that you didn't like Cup being double points. Should Cup hold a smaller multiplier?
I don't think Cup should hold any multiplier at all, but that's just me, because like I constantly hear the argument of like, oh, but it's World Cup, like it's the biggest event. Like, I get that, but again, it's called the season champion, not the I did real good right at the end or at the last minute, because like, again, I love Wrecking Crew because they're just the best example of this in the world. Like, that is by a mile, not even fucking arguable. They were the best team in Division 3. And like, I will just say you're like a total moron if you would say otherwise. Like, they had statistically the second best season ever in all of paintball history, coached by Marcelo. And like, for them to not win the award was like insane, because like the team that won it had a fucking 18th place and like an 11th on their season total. Like, why does that team deserve to be crowned the season champion because of some bullshit double points thing at the end of the year? Like, I just don't agree with it. I think it hurts what that is. Like, yeah, World Cup's bigger. Your prize for winning World Cup is you're the fucking World Cup champion. It's like, that's why that's big. Yeah. Like, I don't need that to, like, it shouldn't infect the season award total. You know what I mean?
So, funny, because obviously it negatively affected me with Wrecking Crew, and I feel bad for those kids, but in a way, I think they got 12th place, or was it 10th? Either way, 10th, 12th place, 10th. Something like that. Okay, so 10th place. At World Cup, that's not a great showing. And World Cup it's our Super Bowl. Now, I think double points is crazy, because you're right. To win 4 events and then get a 10th and not win the series. Sorry. They won 3 events and then they were only taking 4 scores. And then to get 10th and not win the series is pretty crazy. And then another team that like was middle of the pack and then wins World Cup to win the series is also a little crazy. But I do think that there should be some sort of multiplier on it. I do think World Cup it's the most important one. As pros, I know with Dynasty, if we did not win World Cup and we won the series, it was going to feel like shit. The season was going to feel crappy. And whoever won World Cup is going to go into the whole offseason and the whole next year feeling on top of the world because they are the best team. You spend the whole season getting better, fine-tuning with that group. You know, in the offseason, you have all these moves. Once the season starts, you have your group. And throughout the season, you get better and better and better. And you're building up to World Cup, the Champions Cup, which is like, it's our Super Bowl, you know? And so having it have a little more weight, I do like that. But I think maybe it should be like 1.2,
yeah, what's the number?
1.5. Yeah, like 1.2, 1.5 at the most.
Yeah, I agree, because then it doesn't totally like, because honestly, like the double points, like the differences in like placing was crazy. Because like, right, like
it was a little
if you
crazy.
think, say it like Chicago, I get first place. If a team gets third, there's only like a 4-point difference or like a 6-point difference in that. At World Cup, it was like obscene. Like the difference between first and like fourth was like 40 points. Like that's obscene. Like I agree with you. Like I think like that was a number I thought about a lot. Like 1.2, I think is like a good middle ground, because like if it's close races, it's like, hey, you should be rewarded for doing better in like a close thing. But like again, when it's such a blowout season and you don't get it, like a good example too
their
is
situation was rough.
I'll argue it to the end of days. Like if they do double points again, I'm gonna just openly be like arguing it the whole year. But like 2019, I think is a good example to show of how World Cup doesn't need this fucking double points thing to make it special. Like, so look at the 2019 season. Like all year long, X Factor was sick the whole season. They won 2 events. They were like top of the league all year long. But then you go to World Cup, they don't win World Cup, but as a whole, they still won the season title because they were the best team that season. Did that make that fucking insane Houston Heat Russian Legion final where Heat pulled that shit out at the end? Like that didn't make that any less sick because they didn't win the series with it. Like that was still a super special World Cup, and World Cup will make itself special because it is special. And like, I think the intervention of saying, oh, well, it needs more points to make it mean something. Like it will always mean something. Like you can get the shit kicked out of you all year if you win World Cup. Like you don't even care if you win the season title. You won World Cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's the big kahuna. That's the one. All right.
I say 1.2.
1.2.
I like 1.2.
Final answer.
I like that. I'm gonna start pushing that narrative for the next like 6 months.
Perfect.
Settled. We got Kaylin. Quinn, what is your number one most favorite prize jersey in your collection? Obviously, we know it's gonna be Angel is one of them. What would be? Is Angel the top one?
Angel's up there because that's a hard to find rare one. I got like a ton way back there. So like
a literal ton, like 2,000 pounds.
Wall over there. I think total, like in my office, I keep like 40-ish jerseys. And then downstairs, I probably have like another 100 at least.
Yo.
I just love jerseys. Like I love the old ones, obviously, because from like 2015 on, it was much easier to get pro jerseys. Because they were making like production runs, but like the stuff from 2005 and prior, it's like, I mean, like I have an Alex Frazier cap jersey, like that's it. That's the only one. Like you're not getting another one. Or like, I mean, I have Yo Stroud's rookie year game worn Iron Man jersey. Like they're not making any of them. But I would say my favorite by a mile, I grabbed it because I saw this question ahead of time for sure. The Marcus Nielsen Arsenal.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, that's a
this
really
is
good
a
one
beaut.
right there.
So I got this from my buddy who got it from his friend who played in the Arsenal camp at that time. This was like pretty much an only one of its kind one. It was game worn, like just like to me a sick fucking jersey too, because like it's also special to me too because like A, Marcus was really inspiration to me, but B, like Arsenal was the team around here when I was young growing up that like you waited 40, 50 points to try to just get 1 point against them to just get the shit kicked out of you. And like, they were like the pathway up in my area to like, that's the dream of like, you know, we could one day be a pro player on that team when I was younger. Like, obviously they blew up and the team ended, but like, that was kind of the connection in the Northeast for a while when they were playing out here in 7-man and stuff. So like, it's special to me for that reason too. But I don't know, man, it's tough. Cause like I have a lot. That. Like, I mean, I have like Tyler, I have one of yours signed from the 2020 World Cup Dynasty team. Like to me, that's special because that was like probably one of the coolest moments of paintball history when you two did what you did.
Sheesh.
Like, love that. Like that one's cool. I like that one a lot. But I don't know, man. I just have so many that I like. Like it's hard. Like weirdly enough, I have a game worn AJ Lawhead Aftershock jersey. I really love that because AJ was like, I loved him when he played in like that late Aftershock camp. Kind of like the same way with Carl, because they're just like, we know the team sucks, but we're just going to fucking stick it out and try to pull this shit pile up. You know what I mean? So.
And they're having fun. And you got to check the YouTube if you're tuning in on the podcast, because that jersey, that Marcus Dreamy jersey you just showed, is insane. It has the dollar signs on it, original Arsenal. And he's got a literal ton. He's dipped back actually into the jersey pile. He's going for something.
These two are good, and then let me grab this off the wall. Like this one's definitely up there with like one of like the tops as well.
The Fregosa Dynasty.
Yeah, like the Angel Fregosa that got on the front. It has like all the WDP logos, all the old school stuff is super cool. This was the one I mentioned. This is like a one-of-one cap factory of Frazier. This thing is just sick. Like, it's just cool because it was like, I loved back in the day too. They would just take like basically an off the line jersey and just vinyl press it. And like, here you go, get out there. And then this is a sick one as well. Just the super classic, super basic.
Yep.
Yo Shroud Iron Man.
I have a Davey Williamson jersey of that exact one.
Oh my Lord, what do you want for it? Checkbook's open.
And a Matty Marshall, but in yellow.
Yo.
Honestly, if you have the Matty, like when we get off the show, we gotta talk numbers.
Not for sale.
Oh man. That's a sick jersey. The Matty Ironmen are really, really hard to find. And I think it's my theory why they're hard to find is Matt, like at the time when Matty was living with a lot of non-paintball people, I'm assuming some of those people got jerseys and they just, were lost to time. So those are special, man.
Maybe.
I just got the excessive jersey print that Matty had going, and he still has some available. Hit up Matty if you want to score one of those jerseys, the OG excessive jerseys. And he's just one of the best of all time.
Oh, dude, I just got mine too. They're awesome. I loved on those retro ones on the sides of the hip. Each player got to put their own individual logos on that year for excessive. So yeah, that's a cool one.
Hell yeah. Well, Quinn, we've had quite the fun in here. There's any other questions we have from the Discord? All right.
Yeah, I've got one last question from Osborne for this. Quinn, what team do you think has benefited the most from off-season moves so far? And what, if any, move was a head scratcher?
Quick take, I would probably say X Factor benefited the most so far. I think some of the other moves that honestly, the one that has me scratching my head is Louis Betancourt leaving ML Kings to go to NRG. That's just weird to me because I feel for NRG, it's a very horizontal move to where they lost their snake player and then they just brought in a pretty similar level guy. And for leaving ML Kings, I don't understand because I feel like that team's finally there. You know what I mean? And he's been there the whole time grinding with them. So that was kind of a weird head scratcher. The Revo moves, obviously, too. I think that moves the meter a lot. Like they really needed a real snake player on that team, and they finally have it.
Amazing.
Who did Revo pick up again?
They pick up Sean Saucedo and Caleb Abel.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, good.
Yeah, which I mean, it takes a little pressure off Chris Shear finally.
Yeah. And Revo, they've been good. I thought Benny played the snake for them really well. He's actually an underrated snake player in my opinion, but it could free him up and he can go back into the middle and cause some chaos.
Yeah, I think that's why that move is key because they play a lot of dudes out of position, like especially Omar. Like Omar's a really good snake player, but like that's a dude you want like floating around. Like that's where he's at his best.
True.
I got my last question. Dynasty Shadow. No way. What's your favorite reindeer? It's the holidays. We're coming up on it. What do we got, Quinn?
Bro, it's got to be Rudolph, man. He's the lead dog.
All right, so we got Rudolph in the house. Next week is the GOAT meeting. If you have not signed up, sign up now. We're giving away a Shocker amp, HK Speed. We got Hormesis bands. We got HK merch, a push mask, JT flexes. The list goes on and on. I literally haven't even scratched half the list of the
Bro,
things
I'll throw an iconic jersey in too. Throw that
and
in
an iconic jersey
my
from
gosh.
Quinn himself. Let's go, Quinn.
Yo, can I squeeze in a super quick question because it's been eating at my mind?
Okay.
Yes.
What do we got?
What the hell is a tree stem.
I
What is that?
I was razzled, dude. The trunk, man. My bad. All right.
Well, he kept saying that. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I was like, what is that thing in there? The stem. Like
Dude.
it's like some marijuana or something.
That was great. That was great. All right. Hey, everybody, join us. PTGpaintball.com. Log in, hit the orange Patreon link, and become a part of PTG World. The chat doesn't stop. The shows go on, and there in between the weeks that we have our shows. And we're just going to keep pumping them out every week and having fun. So we can't wait to see you in there. And thank you, Quinn. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marchie. Thank you, everybody. Makes these possible.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. You guys kill it. Love the show. Great production quality.
Hell yeah, baby.
The best in the game. Thank you. Much love.
Let's go, Quinn.
We out.
Thanks, bro. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the Patreon link, and become a supporter. You guys do not want to miss next week's GOAT meeting. So the December GOAT meeting, it's going to be on the 21st, next Wednesday. We are giving away a ton of stuff. I mean, we have everything. We are literally giving it all away. Jerseys, guns, goggles, you name it. We have so much stuff. It's the holiday season, so it's the time to give back and make sure that everybody here at PTG World is having an amazing holiday year. All right, everybody. As always, we will see you very soon.